My in-laws left us homeless and broke. It ruined my life.
Well, just think about how hard it was for them to make you go through that. I'm just kidding. That sucks.
So my husband, let's call him Ben, 27 male, and I, 25 female, moved in with his parents 2 years into our relationship due to his dad having a medical condition. Turns out it was from substance abuse, aka booger sugar.
Nose clamp.
And needing around-the-clock care, so we were told. By the way, this comes from Civil Technology 7817, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, little backstory, my husband was always supporting them by paying bills, food, and whenever they asked, giving them $300 to $500, even after he moved out and was on his own for over 2 years. Ben and I helped them move multiple times, and even once by ourselves in the rain, while his parents gave him an excuse that they were not able to pack because of another eviction, and the landlord was against them, and they were at a hospital in a different state, causing us to do what we could in one night. After this, they played on my heartstrings, manipulating me and lying to us, saying they needed us down there and not knowing how much time he had left. At the time, it was in the middle of a career change for Ben, and I really believed them, so we both moved up there to help. We ended up finding an apartment to accommodate all 5 of us, my husband and I, his brother, and his parents. We were then informed a couple weeks after moving our life to help them that he would not be doing treatments and just writing it out. We didn't know it was because of substances until later on. We would give them $400 per month for our portion of the rent, on top of helping with groceries and other things. His mother would have the same deal. $400 per month and help with groceries, but he never paid, and Ben would always be pressed about not contributing enough. We had no privacy to ourselves, with his mom always barging into our room, stealing clothes, shoes, and makeup from me, and then taking it for herself or mysteriously losing it. This caused strain on our relationship and made us fight a lot due to his parents' boundary issues and lack of needing care, seeing as they would leave for days at a time, saying they went to casinos or stayed at a hotel for a while, going out to eat every night to different restaurants. Well, his parents stopped paying rent completely for about 8 months, even though we were giving them our portion, which resulted in eviction. That is so annoying. You guys were paying them the whole time, and they just weren't paying any of that rent to the people that were supposed to be paying?
Just makes you think. Where did it go?
Where did it go?
Where did the money go? It went to the nose clam.
His parents and brother decided to destroy and vandalize the apartment after we left, i.e. nail polish on the toilet and in the shower, a large adult toy, suction to the wall, writing on the wall as well, syrup in the walls. Why?
Syrup in the walls?
Why? How did they do that?
What? How are we? This was a father-son combo? Nice.
His father, mother, son. Our lease had already been up,
in there too?
and we were paying month to month until we found something else. They forged another lease, didn't have our permission to add us to another lease, and stated that Ben was responsible in the case that things weren't paid or were destroyed. Unfortunately for us, the total for the apartment was around $7,000. On the move, we were all homeless, living in our car with all of our stuff stuck in a U-Haul, but found a place where the guy was going to sell the house, but agreed that we could rent until we got the closing cost, or if we wanted to leave, we could after 6 months. The plan was to use the money we all had, our half, my husband's credit, and his parents' half. We all could live in this 3-bed, 2-bath home for 6 months. Instead of using the money to get us off the streets, they paid for his cousin to have his lights turned back on at his place, where the floors were unfinished and holes were not done. I'm sorry, wait, did you give them your money? I'm confused if the parents just used their money to do this, or if they took everyone's money. Because in which case, you guys should absolutely, have realized that these people were very untrustworthy from the last
I think it was a
experience
situation where, they were planning to use, all of their money and then the husband's credit and all of the parents' money, and then they were going to all lump it together and, give it. And then instead of doing that, the parents were like, by the way, we used our money to... Yeah. We used our money to help the cousin turn his lights on, which is dude, we're actively homeless.
I think you just have to...
Need your help.
You guys, I don't think you're going to be able to get out of this situation with their help, because they seem really, really unreliable.
Yeah.
And awful. The place smelled of old milk and mold, walls were unfinished, windows broken, and the place was littered with trash. The place could have been condemned. Well, this caused a falling out, and we got all of our stuff out of storage and house hopped, staying somewhere different every night. Eventually, we stayed with my brother while he was working, trying to save and get our own apartment. Well, they used our credit card. How?
Yeah, how are these people not completely financially removed from you yet?
And racked about $2,000 on it. How? When confronted, they gaslit and threatened Ben, refused to help us pay anything on it, and that is when we went no contact for a year and a half. Why aren't you declaring like fraud on this?
Yeah, you can. You can call your bank and be like, I'm sure they probably did.
Yeah.
It's like you call your bank, you're like, this was fraud. These were not authorized sanctioned purchases.
We got married in that time at the courthouse and just wanted it to be for us. We started getting back in contact because we wanted to give them a second chance in order for them to know their grandchild. No.
Ew.
Getting back in contact with someone who's been awful to you should only happen if they have completely turned their life around and are actively trying to improve the relationship with you. We went from no contact to low contact, easing back into it and protecting ourselves and our child. After a few months, Ben's mother called me from the hospital claiming to have had a stroke. It was a mix of medications causing an allergic reaction, and apparently I was the only one who could understand her. A few days go by after she had called about the stroke. She called again, literally screaming and crying for help, saying that Ben's father and brother were leaving her in her own urine and feces and needed help as she was unable to take care of herself at this point. So I called Ben at work on a super important day, and he left work, came home, and got me and my child for us to meet his parents halfway for his mom to come stay with us for a while. And I'd help her and get her to the doctor's appointments that she needed. His dad showed up the next morning, slept all day on her couch, and then once Ben was at work, his parents left. Mother-in-law knew that she would have stayed for months and that I was making appointments like she had asked me to, but according to father-in-law, that was never the plan. The day I made the appointments for mother-in-law, I looked through her medical files and learned that she had faked a stroke. After all of this, Ben was absolutely done. Texted them, telling them that it will not happen again, and he has his family to think about. Saying I was an amazing wife and did what any normal person would do in that situation. He went no contact. Didn't speak to them, but I kept low contact here and there. Why? If the person whose parents is like, I don't want to have contact, don't have contact with them.
At least not until they get clean, dude. These people need to.
Why would you want these people anywhere around your child?
Address that.
Yeah, why would you want them
and you should not have them around your child.
Recently, we received something in the mail stating that there was a credit card opened in Ben's name for the state and county that his parents lived in, opened almost a month before the eviction from the apartment. We never used this credit card company, and due to the holes in their stories, we believed it was his parents who opened the credit card. Obviously.
Of course it was.
They've already done that.
Of course it was.
Obviously. I.e. saying that they didn't have a P.O. box, but then turning around and saying that they had one for him since he was a baby. And the bill for that was almost $2,000 again.
Yeah, so that's
fraud.
Not something you should be legally held liable for.
I don't understand why we're not like changing all of our code, all of our passwords and everything.
It might just be conditioned, you know?
So in total, there was $11,000 in debt. Well, Ben and I had a baby and decided that we wanted to try and get a house when we were told that because of the charges from the apartment and the credit card were done, we were unable to get a loan. Even with speaking to the debt collection agencies, we were only able to get the apartment price down to half, which we asked his parents to pay a little bit towards since we have a toddler and cannot afford this lump sum all at once to get it removed from our credit to get a home loan. And they never replied.
Yeah, we need to start operating from the position that we know how these people act and behave, and then like informing our behavior based on that instead of just still relying on them financially or being surprised that they've defrauded us.
But you should never be surprised that you can listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. I don't understand why we're still talking to these people when you have a baby, when they've defrauded you, when they're stealing your credit cards, putting you down on a lease, and then getting you to have to pay $7,000 in fines. Like, why are we talking to them? Why are we asking them for anything?
Yeah,
I understand that you need help, but they're not going to help you. They're probably going to make it much worse.
Yeah, they're going to actively hamper you.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen.
But there is a little bit left. We've since gone no contact. So I guess what I'm getting at is, are we the a-holes for asking them to help us pay and going no contact? Edit, this has all happened in the span of 5 years. We were homeless about 3 years ago for a year. Wow. We didn't have our child until after we were in a stable house, and we just recently filed for a home loan, but we were denied due to the credit card fraud and forgery. We are filing police reports and doing everything we can to correct the issues. Comment once is, how did you ever decide to marry into this madness and then add a baby to the mix? Obi says, because oddly enough, my husband isn't like his family.
That was downvoted?
Yeah, why was that downvoted? Comment 2, OMG, why at any time did you not go to the police? Frankly, this is 100% on you.
No,
you poor child. You're a poor child.
100%.
Not 100%. Should OP have gone to the police much earlier? Yes.
Did you warg into the in-laws' brains and make them that you defrauded yourself?
Yeah, it's like, no, it's not. It's absolutely not 100%.
Yeah, it's maybe like 20%.
Comment 3, why do you keep putting yourself in this situation? Like, seriously, your husband went no contact and you still were low contact? I'm sorry to say this after everything you've been through, but you're the a-hole to yourself at this point. File fraud charges.
Yes.
Follow your husband's lead and go no contact. Think of your child and what future BS this lady has in store.
Yeah, honestly, the lack of rectifying the fraud.
That's the issue.
That is on you.
Like, you could have rectified it and been like, hey, well, maybe you don't get all of that money back, but certainly before it gets to another
No, you probably
2000.
could. You probably a lot of times they do their own investigations and stuff. If they weren't authorized to use that card, and you're like, yeah, I had my credit card essentially stolen, and then they racked up $2,000 in debt. They go, all right, well, you're not liable for that because it's fraud.
But that is the end of that story. My mother-in-law insists on staying long-term. I had to set boundaries.
Make it short-term.
My husband and I have been married for almost 2 years, and our son is 10 months old. We live in Canada. I grew up here while my husband immigrated as a student. My parents live nearby, which has been invaluable during my pregnancy and since. My mom comes over regularly to help us out. She and my husband are on good terms, so it's been going well. By the way, this comes from Reward Specialist 3390, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. His parents live in another country. We have visited them once since we got married, which was 7 months ago. The time before that was our wedding itself, which took place there. My husband has been talking about his mom visiting soon for a long stay, which I was happy with. We recently moved into our new house. I've done a good job decorating it. We have a large guest room, and I was looking forward to hosting her, especially since it would make my husband happy. A couple of days ago, he was complaining about how detailed her visa application was. I told him I was surprised it was so thorough. He explained that regular visa forms allow a stay of 6 months max, but this one allows for 2 years. I asked why she would need to stay for more than 6 months. He said she had been thinking of winding up her medical practice and basically retiring, and this would allow her to stay for a longer visit if we all decided it worked. I was stunned. I told him he should just do the regular application because his mom wouldn't be staying for anywhere close to 6 months.
Who would want that?
In my mind, I had assumed she would be here for about a month. That's how long we stayed when we visited her. He said that she's his mom. She tells him how alone she feels. She can't go to my brother-in-law's because he lives with roommates, and we can't just put a timer on her visit.
What's the difference between you and your brother?
Because he lives with roommates? I'm sorry?
That's the reasoning?
He said she's been looking forward to helping us with our son, and I've been looking forward to not having her in our house, so...
A month, maybe 2 months?
6 months is crazy.
This all should have been communicated way before.
I told him we don't need help. We managed fine on our own and with my mom's help. I wanted to host his mom as a guest, not have her become part of our household. He complained that it wasn't fair how my parents could visit whenever they wanted while his couldn't.
Mama's boy alert.
Mama's boy. Wee wee. That hurt because my parents have helped us out a lot. I asked him if he wanted us to limit how often my mom visits. He said no, that's not what he meant. That he likes her, but it wasn't fair to his parents. I told him that when my mom comes, she goes home at the end of the day. That wouldn't be the case with his mom. Yeah, the thing is, he's not saying like, oh, I want her to come more often. He's saying I want her to live in our house for 6 months straight.
I want her.
I ended the conversation by saying he should look into the easier, regular visa application because she couldn't be thinking of staying that long. That night, he chose to sleep on the couch and has been cold with me since. I hate that. We've never been cold to each other like this. I talked to my mom too. She said that having his mom live with us for long stretches would definitely affect me and that this is worth fighting for. I haven't seen him since working on the application. Last night he went out when his mom called. When he came back, I asked how she took it. He told me he had said he was looking into what application best suited her. Then he asked if I had changed my mind. I said no. He just shook his head and started watching TV. Am I the a-hole? And there is an update. Say we.
Nay.
No. Nay. And the nays have it. What are you talking about? Am I the a-hole? Your husband is trying to move his mother in for 6 months. That's insane.
Without
talking to you.
I was going to say, without having you say anything.
And then when you say, no, I don't want to do that, he tells his mom, yeah, we're working it out.
No, I want my mommy here. Mommy is going to help us in like 6 months. It's not that long. Yeah. It's just like your mom's here all the time. That's not.
Shut up.
Update.
Thank you for the feedback in the original post. Yesterday, when he came back from work, I tried to start the conversation again. He had been giving me the cold shoulders since all this started. I told him I'm his wife of 2 years and the mother of his child. This isn't how we're going to communicate. We started talking after that. I held my ground that his mom staying with us for long wasn't tenable. She wanted to visit Canada for longer than a couple of months. She would have to live in her own apartment, learn how to drive, or use public transport. She's used to being driven by a hired driver in Pakistan, and a whole bunch of other changes that she needed to get used to. I don't see myself changing my mind on this, so he needs to be honest with her and himself and not go down the we'll keep our options open route. He said that he knows her living with us for an extended stay would require some changes on our part, but he was asking me to do this as a favor to him, that I claim I love him, yet can't do this favor for his mom. That is so manipulative. This isn't a favor. She's living with you guys for 6 months. That's not a favor.
If it was like, oh, the process, it takes 3 months. OP's like, doesn't take that long.
Exactly. I actually started sobbing when he said this. It was so hurtful that he was using this as a litmus test for our love. I said her being around for years would ruin our parenthood with our first child. I want us to raise our child the way we see fit, not his mom. Also, all the intimate moments we have, our spicy sleep life, everything would suffer. My parents are Pakistani too. I know this will happen. He again asked me not to just shut the door completely, that I'll tell his mom the stay can only be a month or so, and I can let him know if the change wasn't too much. And we landed on a compromise that for now, they'll do the regular visa app that only allows a max stay of 6 months. If I change my mind, he'll do the super visa. You didn't compromise. Sounds like he got his way.
It sounds like you were just like, I gave in.
He then had a long call with his mom, which his older sister also joined. It actually lasted an hour and a half. He was in the backyard for the call and came back in to grab a chair. It was that long. Also, from what I could see, he was mostly listening during the conversation. When he came back, he told me to just not answer any calls or messages from his mom or sister. Meanwhile, I've received like 4 missed calls and 20 messages from them, mostly Islamic quotes about the rights of parents. I told him that I can't talk right now since I'm busy with my son. That's my right as a parent. I asked him how it went, and he said as well as he could have expected.
How did it go? Why do you think you're getting so many phone calls right
He's like, obviously not good.
Yeah.
But he's not giving me the cold shoulder anymore. I do feel guilty because, like I said, I was actually looking forward to hosting her for a month. I think this whole thing may have caused irreparable damage, not just to my relationship with my mother-in-law and sister-in-law, but my husband's relationship with his mom and sister. I've told my mother-in-law I'll call her back in a couple of hours once my husband's back. I'm dreading that conversation, but I know what my boundaries are. Thank you for the feedback. It helped. And edit. Also, one thing that I had to clarify a few times last post, a lot of people were like, this is what happens when you marry outside your culture. My husband and I are both of Pakistani descent. Just thought I was born here while he immigrated here as a student. But he's been here for like a decade now too. And there is a second update. It seems like you're handling this the right way. Seems like your husband is finally listening to you, which is good.
He's finally understanding, like, you know what? My wife's is down. I will respect that.
I will respect it. Update 2. I spoke to my mother-in-law. Since her missed calls and text messages were asking me to call her, I figured I should be the one to call, not my husband. But I put my phone on speaker so that my husband, who was lying on the couch, could also hear it. She said that my husband had told her he thought it'd be best if she restricts her trip to 1 month since it was her first time in Canada and because we were really busy with my son. She said that ever since my husband had gone to Canada as an 18-year-old, he'd always wanted her to visit for a long duration. Now, all of a sudden, he was asking her to restrict it when she wanted to help her with her grandson. She said she knew I must be the reason why. I said it was a joint decision because of the circumstances, but she wouldn't hear of it. She said that if her visiting for more than a month was so outrageous to us, then that's fine. She would limit her stay. But I should know that in Pakistan, in-laws live in the same house with a married couple like my sister-in-law does. So funny, because we're in Canada.
Yeah, literally. Where are we?
Canada. She also said that she had thought I was in touch with my Islamic and Pakistani roots when I was getting married, because that's what my husband had told her, but she was disappointed at how whitewashed I was.
Oh, wow. Now we're getting there. Okay.
Yeah, just the laying on the guilt tripping.
You're just mad you didn't get your way. Mad 'cause bad.
Yeah. At this point, my husband asked me to give him the phone, but not before I told her that I was totally comfortable with how in tune with my heritage I was, and apparently so was her son. I handed him the phone and he went into the yard to talk, but I was so angry I decided to eavesdrop. He was talking to both my mother-in-law and father-in-law. He told them that it's not like he fled to Canada in the middle of the night as a student. They both had happily seen him off at the airport. And when he had introduced me, he hadn't kept the fact that I was born and raised in Canada a secret either. He told them they can't expect to treat us like a couple in Pakistan. By the way, you can expect to listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime.
Easy.
But there is a little bit left to the story. Do you have any final thoughts?
The one thing that was said in like that last, my son wanted me to visit him for so long and wanted me to stay for so long when he was 18.
When he was 18, he had just left home.
He was like, yeah, I want my mom to see where I live now.
Yeah, not when he's got a baby and
when
a
he
wife.
didn't have a family. That's like, what are you saying?
Yeah,
Gosh.
but there is a little bit left. Then he listened a whole lot for like a half an hour. I gave him a chair again and kept telling them that it's different now. They ended the call with him saying that we were both really looking forward to her visit and that we'll make sure it's a great 30 or so days with us and her grandson. He apologized to me on behalf of his mom and asked me to please let her lecture go and still be on board with the 1-month plan. I'm looking forward to it much less than I was. And I said, fine. I think this is the best way it could have gone, honestly.
I want an update.
Given the circumstances.
Hopefully the trip went well. Maybe
I
she
hope
enjoyed
so.
herself. Yeah, but like.
I hope so. I hope she's not making all this fuss.
A month is a very long time.
A month is a long time with a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, 6 months would have been
6 months would have
unbearable.
been what?
Yeah.
And you guess what? If you like it, you can come back.
Exactly.
I think that's what you should always do. A month is 2 to like 4 weeks is a perfect amount of seeing a country. If you like it, if you don't like it, if you love it,
yeah, you
if
can
you
go back,
hated
move,
it or you didn't have a good
move
time,
there. Honestly,
yeah,
like you don't have to move in with us, but you can move.
6 months
somewhere.
is a long test trial.
Yeah. But that is the end of that story. So we're gonna jump into the next one.
Stick around.
Okay.
My husband's family is everything I dreamt of until they turned on me. Just like that. By the way, trigger warning, fertility issues and miscarriage. If you know that's going to be hard to listen to, please skip ahead. Me, 28 female, and my husband, 32 male, have a wonderful relationship, but his family, who once treated me like their own, has turned on me in painful and hurtful ways, especially after a recent health scare. I don't know how much longer I can take this, even though I love him with all my heart. By the way, this comes from Au revoir 8866, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, my husband and I have been together for 4 years, married for 2. We met when I was hired to plan his sister's wedding and clicked instantly. We kept things professional during the wedding, but started dating afterwards. From the beginning, our relationship felt like magic. It was deeply respectful, loving, supportive, and safe. It's truly one of the most beautiful parts of my life. Over time, I also grew close to his family. His mom felt like a second mother to me. His younger sisters were like close friends, and his family dynamic, though rooted in hardship, felt strong and warm. The only person who seemed off was his aunt, but I didn't pay her much mind. I genuinely loved being a part of their world. That is, until he proposed. That's not a good time to stop loving being a part of your world. It was everything I dreamed of. A beautiful trip, a perfect moment, pure joy. But something changed when we returned. His mom, who used to be my confidant, suddenly became different. Subtly cold, passive-aggressive. I noticed it, but brushed it off in the glow of my engagement. Looking back, I wish I hadn't. Since then, things have just deteriorated. Every day for a year now, I've cried. I don't think there's been a single day I haven't. It's gotten so toxic and painful that I've started to wonder if I can even stay in this marriage. Not because I don't love my husband, but because of how his family makes me feel. For some background, my husband has 3 sisters, 1 older, who is married, and 2 younger. His father passed away when he was very young, and they grew up in severe poverty. His mother worked 5 jobs to support them. His maternal uncle helped them immensely, which is likely why his mother and uncle's wife are so close. Ever since my husband started working at 23, he's been the sole provider. He pays for his mom, aunt, and uncle, and one of his sister's expenses. Today, the family is quite well off, but it's largely due to him. They love him, sure, but often treat him like an ATM. And he never complains. He just gives and gives.
Oh.
I always admired this about him, his loyalty and deep love for his family. But now, I don't know how to feel. Because those same people who claim to love him have hurt me more than I can bear. Just a few instances of their behavior. After our engagement, his mom started making weird comments like, I'll have to visit more to check up on him now that he has more on his plate. She once told him, if I don't take care of him, who will?
Who else is going to take care of him? It's like, well, he's a grown man who's actually taking care of you.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think
probably don't need to worry about that.
The expectation that like the wife needs to be the mom too. And it's like, come on.
Yeah, it's like, well,
down with the gender roles.
Let's just all be happy that your son has found someone he loves and they're going to be together. But it's like, it's going to be so hard to get him to see like any toxicity on his family side, I feel like, because of what they went through together. Yeah. And like seeing, that kind of like bootstrap mentality.
During wedding planning, my husband joked that he just wanted to elope. His mom said, a good life partner should encourage sharing love with family, not separating you from them. Even though we had no intention of excluding anyone. On our wedding day, she told me, I know you'll never be as good as me when it comes to taking care of my son, but I won't expect that from you. I'll just try to guide you and hope you'll be happy in this marriage. Then hugged me and added that she hopes her son manages to be happy with me. Oh my gosh.
Okay, so at this point, I'm probably getting a little weird. All right, I'm trying to make mom uncomfy now.
Yeah.
If you're saying all these little I hope he manages to be happy with you. It's like, shut up.
When his sister showed up at their house mid-crisis, her marriage was toxic, we were expected to cancel entirely to support her. We weren't even against staying, but the hypocrisy was insane because they kept calling me an outsider, yet suddenly I was expected to step up. I grew close to that same sister during this time. I even helped her get a job on my event planning team and recommended a therapist she seemed to really like. She told me that she was happier than she'd felt in years. But suddenly, mother-in-law accused me of manipulating her into thinking that something was wrong and forcing her to go to therapy. She came to you saying that something was wrong. You didn't convince her of that.
Yeah, they're living in like an alternate reality.
Yeah. Right. She made her quit the job and stop therapy. Oh no. Her aunt said I cared more about my business than her emotions. The sister now won't speak to me and makes passive-aggressive comments. Once I had traveled out of the city for work, and during that time, my husband fell seriously ill, like extremely sick. I was frantic and kept calling and messaging him, but there was no response. My anxiety only grew through the night. Later, I found out that his mother had switched off his phone to avoid any disturbances. While I can understand wanting to let him rest, what hurt me was that she didn't bother to reply to even one of my 60-plus messages. She did, however, message his secretary to inform him about my husband's condition, so she clearly had the means to communicate, just not the will to let me, his wife, know. I didn't find out the full extent of his condition until I returned the next day and saw that he had been admitted to the hospital. I broke down in tears the moment I saw him. And in that moment of heartbreak, my mother-in-law decided it was the perfect time to lecture me about balancing work and personal life. I still haven't fully processed that day. One of the younger sisters had a boyfriend who cheated on her with someone that he met during one of my events. When the aunt found out, she accused me of knowing and keeping it from them to hurt the sister. Thankfully, no one believed that insanity, not even the mother-in-law. But the most painful moment came just 3 weeks ago. I thought I was pregnant. My husband and I took 3 tests, all positive. We were terrified, but thrilled. I wanted to wait for my usual OBGYN, who was out of town for a week, before confirming with the scan or blood test. But I was too excited and told close friends and family, including his younger sisters and mother-in-law. For the first time in years, his mother was kind, supportive. Even the aunt congratulated me. I cried that night, not just because I was going to be a mom, but because I thought I finally had them back. I thought we were finally a family again. My aunt-in-law recommended us a doctor that we went to where we got to know that I wasn't pregnant and that it was a false positive. Oh, but that's not all. A scan revealed an ovarian cyst. And because of an accident I had a few years ago, which caused a miscarriage, I might face fertility issues in the future. That is a huge, from thinking that you're pregnant to that's heartbreaking. And of course now the mother-in-law is just going to blame her for everything. Is just going to hold this against her. I was crushed. My husband was devastated. We cried and held each other for hours. He protected me fiercely, didn't let anyone visit or bombard me with questions. We needed space to grieve. When his mother found out, she cried, not out of empathy, but because her son lied to her when he told her everything was okay. He'd lied for me because I asked him to give me time and privacy. She screamed at me for robbing her of the joy of being a grandmother. See? We knew it. Robbing her from the joy of being a grandmother.
Ooh, monster.
I was too emotionally drained to even respond. 3 days ago, my husband and I visited my gynecologist, the one I trust, and I've been going to for years. She took the time to explain everything to us in detail. False positives, the cyst, my current fertility concerns. She answered all of our questions and was incredibly compassionate. When she was done, I just broke down and cried in her arms for an hour. What a hard job that might be. Oh my gosh.
Maybe probably one of the hardest.
The entire time, I kept wishing it was my mother-in-law comforting me instead. Because before all of this, before the engagement and the shift in her behavior, that's what she would have done. She would have hugged me and loved me and supported me, and I needed her so much in that moment. I still do. But she's not that person anymore, and I don't know why. We live in the same building, so no contact isn't really possible. My husband has tried everything. He's defended me, banned the older sister from our home, and told off every single person who wronged me.
Yes.
He even screamed at his mom when she said that the whole disowning thing, but she fainted. He feels guilty, and now so do I.
But good for the husband. I'm glad the husband is defending you. That was what I was really most worried about.
Right.
Said he'd be like, well, she's my mom. But it's like, dude.
No, I'm so glad. It just sucks that like these people are acting like this, and even the son can't convince them to like chill out. Like, this is just too much to handle when she's already heartbroken from this thing happening to her. No one's thinking about how it's affecting her. He is emotionally exhausted too. He cried with me when I told him I felt like I couldn't survive in this family. He said he wonders if they even truly love him because they can't support the one thing he chose for himself, me. That wrecked me because despite it all, I love him. And more than anything, he is my peace, my comfort. No matter how broken I feel, his voice brings me calm. But I am drowning. I wake up sad. I cry every day. I feel like my life is a nightmare I can't escape. I don't want to divorce him, but I don't want to live like this either. I just want his family to love me the way I loved them. I want things to go back to how they were. I want to feel happy again. I want to feel like I matter. Right now, I just feel lost. I really need advice. What can I do here? I feel like I've tried everything. I've been patient. I've been kind. I've stood up for myself. My husband has stood up for me, but it's never enough. They keep pushing. They keep hurting me, and I'm starting to break. I don't want to lose my husband. He's the love of my life, but I also don't want to keep living like this. I feel like I'm being slowly erased in a home that should have been mine too. So is there any way to fix this? Is there anything left for me to try? How do I protect myself without destroying the man I love? And if there's no way out, how do I find the strength to walk away from someone who's never hurt me, but whose family won't stop? Please be honest, I don't know how much of this I can take. And there is an update.
He's the one providing for all of them at this point. So if he withdraws and goes no contact, he's essentially abandoning everything he's ever known his whole life.
Yeah, that's hard to do.
Super hard. However, I think at this point he's doing his family more of a disservice than anything, because
by like providing for them.
By providing for them, because he's in a way enabling their behavior by accepting it. And I get it. It's like that runs so deep.
Yeah.
But it's like, if that happened to my wife, and I'm not OP, but if my mom said some off the handle crap, like that, it's curtains. It's over.
Yeah.
I'm done. You're not getting any more money from me. You're not until you like. I don't know.
Right, because at that point it's like, can you even talk to the mom? Like, I wonder if OP either has had conversations or has tried to have conversations with the mom of being like, hey, like I just want to know what's going on. Like, we were so close before, and I miss that. And just be honest, like, with what's going on, and then asking, like, was there anything that I did to upset you before the miscarriage stuff? Because obviously she didn't do anything there, but it still upset the mom. So, like, was there anything, like, I wonder if there can even be a conversation, or if the mom would just turn it into an argument or something like that, or if they've tried.
Maybe, like, write it out or, like, make an email or whatever. You need to make, like, a very eloquent point A, point B, point C, like, present that to your husband. Like, this is why I cannot do this.
Yeah.
I cannot continue on this way. Yeah. And we need to figure out a path forward. And if that means cutting off your family and we're not around them, if that's what we have to do and you can't do that, then we have to call this off.
But there is an update, so let's see what happened. Okay, So it's done. We're moving out in the same city. We already have an apartment like 20-ish minutes from our current residence. I don't know why I didn't think about just moving.
Okay, nice. We're moving. No, that's it.
So we're moving there for the time being. It's not that far, but it's a step forward. Also, about the cutting off thing, my husband told me that his father asked him to take care of his mother and sisters, and that's always weighed upon him heavily. His father that has passed away. So he's not going to withdraw financial support just yet, but will stop interacting with them unnecessarily. My younger sister-in-law is a bit wary about us moving out, but his uncle supports our decision, so I guess that'll work out. Also, he's decided to write a letter to her to let her and aunt know about this decision instead of verbally telling them for obvious reasons. My only concern is that he's not able to realize how she's not just a bad mother-in-law, but also a bad mother for abusing his emotions for so long. He'll start therapy, so hopefully that will help. I just feel so bad for him. Like, even now, he's so scared that I'll divorce him or something, which I won't, since I've realized that I would be abandoning him to fend off these people alone, and I won't do that.
Aww.
I have 4 problems now. So 1, how do we leave without her noticing? My husband's writing his letter and will give it to his uncle instead of directly handing it to his mother. And I'll be done packing in just a couple of hours, but I'm so scared that she'll see us, scream at me, faint, and split her head open at the tarmac or something like that. One of my friends mentioned that she might have a heart attack given her hypertension problem. That would be really extreme, and no matter what she's done, I don't want her to pass away or split her head open. So how do I soften the blow a bit? Okay, cool. So how should we soften the blow a bit? How should we sneak out of this apartment?
I don't think you should soften the blow.
Oh, yeah?
Honestly, I think that is part of why she is the way that she is because she's like, I don't know, she's probably just been able to get away with everything for so long, or like catered to for so long. It just needs to be like, Mom, we're moving out, we're leaving, and do you want to know why?
Yeah.
Because we cannot I cannot condone y'all treating my wife this way.
Yeah.
Eat that word sandwich.
I do think that saying it over a email or like a letter or something like that is a good idea, because like you can still be hard with them and like stern, but then it'll still avoid like your trouble of being around a screaming woman. You know?
Yeah, I mean that's honestly that's probably better, because if you're not talking, you can't get emotionally like got. Yeah. So you can just craft whatever you want to give to her. You give her the thing. You say, "Here's what's going on. I'm not arguing with you about it. I'm not engaging with you about this."
Yeah.
So you can read it and go blah, 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 blah. And you just go, "I told you, not talking to you about this."
But we have another question. If I get pregnant, it's unlikely, and she becomes super nice again, do I forgive and forget or hold on to the grudge? I think I might let it go at the moment, but I don't want to, since some of you pointed out that she may even pester me after I have kids, and I don't want them exposed to that kind of behavior. Yeah, a quick little answer to that. I feel like talking about the past and talking about like, hey, we can't let that happen again. Like we have to see what this is, keep it an eye out, because I feel like what you said, it's just, she would just be happy about it because it means that she's going to get a grandson.
Right.
She's just happy about the grandson, not about OP.
You gotta put her on blast of being like, yeah, so who do you see right now?
Yeah.
Me standing in front of you, what do you see? Do you just see a pregnant thing? Or do you see me as a fully realized human who is carrying your grandchild?
Right.
AKA my child.
Next question from OP. How do I make my husband realize that he's been taken advantage of and that these are not good people? I myself feel like they are good people and just don't like me, but I was wrong. It was painful to realize, but also important. I have noticed parallels between their behavior towards me and my husband. The only difference is they try to exclude me from everything and include him in everything. I'm so scared that it might really break him because he loves his family so selflessly and endlessly. I don't think some therapy is going to be enough. Just more therapy then.
You'd be really surprised at what happens once you realize certain things. It's really hard once you realize certain things to put the genie back in the bottle.
Do we stop going to any gatherings at all where my mother-in-law and aunt will be present? Because knowing them, it won't be peaceful, and I'm scared that they'll tell people awful things about me. I know it's stupid, but being hated by people you love is taxing enough. I don't think I want the same comments from strangers as well. Also, since my mother-in-law has said that she won't claim me as her daughter-in-law if I don't give her a grandchild, so I am essentially off the hook for now, right? I think so. Thank you guys for helping. Honestly, these are basic steps that we should have taken a long time ago, but it was hard to let go of the idea of the perfect loving family I had initially seen.
Yep.
I wanted to be a part of it so much because I thought before I came into the picture, it truly was a happy and healthy family. I've realized that this is not true, at least not for my husband. I also want to acknowledge the gut-wrenching position my husband is in. I know it's incredibly hard for him, but I'll make sure to let him know how much I love him and that he's worth more than just the bills he pays. He's a kind and amazing human who's a very integral part of me, and I'm so grateful for him. I'm also weirdly excited now. Like, I'm smiling while writing this and hopping around our room with clothes in my hand.
Aw, it's cute.
But hopefully, we can have the life we envisioned for ourselves when he proposed to me. Thanks again. I needed the push. Wow, and that's it.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
That's
but
the
you
end
know
of that
what
story.
you need is to find more episodes with more stories just like this one. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, your favorite podcast app, and search OK Storytime. That's what you need. But wow. Well, okay. So she's excited about moving? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, well, she's excited. It's like, new phase. They've moved out. It's like they're getting some distance. Husband's going to therapy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like things are happening.
Yeah.
Things are changing inevitably, like,
Yeah.
And who knows, these people could change. Maybe it's unlikely
Right.
without outside assistance, but it's like
Separation would
maybe
be good, though.
if your husband has some, breakthroughs in therapy and then translates those breakthroughs into, conversations with his parents or his sisters, like
We tries to understand them a little more and try to communicate based on that understanding. You know what I mean?
Maybe if he has some new techniques,
Yeah.
might be able to have more productive conversations. But again, a lot of people's behavior is out of our control.
Yeah.
His mom being a monster to his wife is, for the most part, completely out of his control.
Right.
Or
Right.
anyone's control, really, except for the mother. So
Yeah.
it's a hard pill to swallow, for sure.
My husband wants to care for his orphan siblings, but I'm not ready.
They're not ready either.
I am 24, female, and my husband is 24. We met at our university when we were both 18 and got married at the age of 21. I run a bridal store and he runs a hardware shop. My husband has two siblings who are 12 and 10, and his parents struggled with fertility issues for a decade before having two children later. His parents passed away 2 months ago. Oh my God, in an accident, and left a house but not much money due to bad investments. By the way, this comes from Deleted and Sadwife1233. Does that mean it is a double Reddit post from both sides of the relationship? I think we might be getting a double Reddit post. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So my husband took his siblings in, and I respect him for that. But it isn't something I signed up for at such a young age. Our whole budget has gone to toss, and he will be responsible for their education and other things in the future. Yes, we both earn well, but still expensive foreign trips, my high-end lifestyle, and other things need money. Our original plan was to have 5 years of marriage and plan for a child around the age of 27. I realize it won't be something I want at this point. With too much household work and 2 kids to care for, I asked for a divorce and have moved out. Wow.
That was quick.
That went super quick. There aren't many assets as we were saving for a house. I will grant him an easy divorce. I love him, but I am selfish. And at 24, I don't want to do all this. Hey, at least you're honest. Well, I want to travel and live my life. It hurts, but this isn't something I want. I have moved out and he is asking me to solve this. I can't ask him to give away his siblings to other relatives or social care. I am not that horrible of a person, but I also don't want to be responsible for them. My parents and siblings are saying that hardships are part of life and I should give my marriage a chance, which I think is also true. I think OP knows what she's doing is selfish. I think that's okay. I don't know. I know I will be very resentful if I force myself into this. Edit. I need to add that people are talking about my vows. My vows and commitment were or are to him. If he had been in an accident and lost his limbs, I would have taken care of him because I was committed to him. I don't believe you. So please stop trying to equate me not taking responsibility for his siblings. I wasn't committed to his family. I was committed to him only. I mean, is it selfish? Yes. Is it reasonable? I say also yes. I'm 24, not ready to role play a mother role at this age. Edit. I'm depressed with all the you're the a-holes, but it's okay. That's your opinion. I come from a third world country where I am expected to take care of children. Men barely contribute to child rearing. Indeed, I am not mature enough to raise preteens at this age. Am I the a-hole? And there are some comments and there are some updates. Do we think OP is the a-hole? I feel like we're going to be a little split. I think what it sounds like, she gave it zero chance. She said this is going to be such a downer and bounce. I wish she tried a little bit.
I wish we heard more of the discussion. So there might have been discussion because I feel like that is a quick jump to go right to divorce. But like, again, it's maybe selfish, but also an adoption agency is not going to make a person adopt a child if they don't want the child, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It sounds like she would be a bad mother.
She doesn't want kids. Her desire to not raise kids right now is higher than her love for her partner. Well, it sounds harsh, but like, it's true.
That is a good way of putting it.
She signed up for the partner, not for the partner and his siblings.
Only the a-hole because she didn't give it a try. She would have been less the a-hole if she gave it a try. And it was like, hey, like, I can't do this. Well, we got some comments, and I think these comments are going to be like viscerating OP. So comments, be calm and kind. Says, bottom line, this is your life and your choice to make. Whether or not you're an a-hole for making it doesn't matter. You will need to live with your decision whichever way you go and whatever anyone else thinks of your decision. And Throwaway says, it is none of their fault. It's just life. She didn't sign up for this, and neither did he. The kids are innocent, and so are the adults. It is actually brave to move out now than leave later. Someone pretend they are okay and stay. And Rough Cucumber 8285 says, yep, and I don't judge her for wanting to remove herself from this situation. There are many questions here, and while we are hearing it from one side, we can only take her word, the facts of the case. 24 is rather young to have to take on teenage children. They can be difficult to deal with. One has to be quite compassionate to take on the care and well-being of others. I feel bad for the husband as he is now has to take care of for his siblings, but he also can't expect his wife to do the same. He did the right thing, though, and distribution due 4863 says, not the a-hole. You're being honest about what you want and forcing yourself into a life you don't want will only lead to resentment, which is kind of what OP said. Your husband didn't choose the situation either, but he's stepping up for his siblings because they need him. It's heartbreaking, but it's better to leave now than to stay and make everyone miserable. That said, your timing might feel incredibly cold to your husband. He just lost his parents, and now his wife is leaving too. While you have every right to prioritize your happiness, don't expect him to see you as anything but selfish in this moment. It's okay to admit this isn't the life you want, but be prepared for people to judge you for it. And OP responds, but I didn't know how long I could have delayed the inevitable. Delaying it made no sense to me because it's better not to give fake hope for a year and pull the plug later. And we have an update 5 days later.
I think OP just sounds like very practical, like very much like, well, it doesn't make sense to do this. Well, I think this, so let's go forward.
I think if I was thinking like, what is the least a-hole thing to do? It's like, hey, let me think about it. This is really hard. I don't know if I can be here for this marriage, but I still want to support you as a friend.
Yeah, that would be the nicest thing to do. My take on this is that she is not the a-hole for her decision, but perhaps the a-hole in her delivery. I mean, I don't think she actually has done the delivery part yet, it seems. It's a little bit unclear if she's already told him this.
I think cold is the word here, not necessarily a-hole.
I agree, yeah.
Well, 5 days later. So I had to delete my original ID because I got depressed by the comments, but later I realized I am not going to lie to myself and can't please everyone. Also, I'll make some points clear in the comments. I didn't factor in cultural differences between Western and Asian expectations of marriage. I was called a gold digger. I make my own money and way more than him. No, I have nothing to dig here. Bridal stores are a multi-billion-dollar business in my country. I make good money. Also, I don't know how tough it is to open a business in the US and the West, but I started my store during last year of college as attendance wasn't mandatory. It's easy to get a bank loan, and my father gave his empty shop to open it. My husband got a lease from his relative. We promoted our business through Insta ads, and it worked out. Third world countries also have upper middle class people, who can afford foreign vacations. So please say your facts.
But English isn't her first language, which could contribute to the more kind of like straightforwardness. Certain cultures are a little bit more straightforward. Not saying that she doesn't have an understanding of English, but that
culturally she could be just forward.
Like America, I think, is very focused on like politeness, but she could be potentially from a culture that is like, well, this is what I think this is, For example, like Germany, I feel like a lot of times Germans can be very straightforward. They're not doing it to offend you, but they'll like tell you what they think.
Anyway, people call me names and that's their perspective. I agree, but I would rather be true to myself. I am 24 and I am not ready for such a hard task at this age, raising preteens. paying for their schools, college, etc. And I would have to delay my own motherhood, which I want in 3 to 5 years when I'm mentally prepared. People wish me to be infertile. Whew, I hope you grow up. Having a kid when I am mentally prepared is different from raising preteens. Yeah, I failed at my vows, I guess. But staying in a resentful marriage is going to harm us more in the long run. Note that when I start motherhood, I will still be doing most child caring because of cultural expectations from women. So I don't want to lose my years raising kids all the time. I want to be in a position mentally to be a mother, which isn't now. People said I am selfish for not raising kids. Here, know the fact that my husband would barely help with any household tasks. He already does it rarely, and I am not ready to be a servant for the next decade.
It seems like a lot of the childcare would fall on her, and she knows this. I wouldn't want to lose the lifestyle I have right now.
Just the delivery. Delivery is rough.
I think it's the delivery. I think it's blunt.
A-hole for delivery, not a-hole for choice. I think you should be a little bit more helpful to a person that you married whose parents just passed away.
Absolutely. But I don't think that her decision in itself is wrong.
Well, this is not what I want for myself. I know men in your countries do 50-50 chores, and that is a good thing. I wish I could say the same, but I will be responsible for their care while he will only contribute financially. Anyways, my ex and I met for a final discussion. He asked me to come back and take on motherly duties for his siblings. Oh, so he's like, yes, you need to do this. I refused. I said, I understand he can't go back and leave his siblings in others' care. I won't make the divorce process tough for him. We started crying. He said he can't handle all the housework in his shop, though we have house help. He feels overwhelmed, and he said, I can do this better. I said, no, I'm not going to do that. He got angry and said then it is best we divorce, and he can remarry some poor, less educated woman who can help his household more than someone educated who can't even help. He called me some colorful names, Randy, equivalent of witch.
We're seeing his true thoughts and feelings. He wanted OP to be the full-time caretaker.
Which now even less the a-hole. Well, it pinched, but I didn't argue, and we started the divorce proceedings soon. I know it is tough for him, but I don't want to be a bitter mother figure. We have some savings, which we'll split. That's it. By the way, you should not split from us because you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. There's another relevant update. I feel like the a-hole meter went down just there.
I think that I stand by everything that I've said the whole time.
Sounds like he saw value in her service and not in her as a person. I'm glad you chose what you did, OP, even though Reddit flamed you. But again, you could have been better in your delivery.
I will say that we just got the delivery. It seems like the delivery that she gave to her husband was what we just read, which didn't seem intensely cold. Perhaps could have been like more helpful in terms of like I'll be there for you as a friend. It seems like we got all of the harsh stuff in the Reddit post, which is often what people do when they're expressing feelings. They're like, here, this is exactly what's going on in my head right now.
If that's true, then I think definitely not the a-hole. And then we got a little bit more to this story, but wow, what a roller coaster. The whole process is mentally draining, and I'm going to take some break from dating again and find myself. I got married too young because of puppy love during college days. I wasn't ready for all this, and I want to be mentally mature enough next time I marry. Yes, I want kids, and I will take care of motherly duties when the time comes. But at this point in life, that isn't going to happen. I want to enjoy the fruits of my labor for some years to come before I give up my life for my children. The sacrifice it requires, I'm just not up for it. And some comments say, yep, that comment from him about marrying a less educated woman, you escaped a life he planned for you. That was going to happen whenever kids came along. I would suggest finding someone less traditional before you remarry. Marriage and children shouldn't be a death sentence to your life, and prenuptial agreements are good ideas. And OP responds, we don't have prenups here. And look not with eyes says, I think you're smart for getting out early. You knew exactly what was coming. So I think it's great that you're prioritizing your life, future children, and happiness. It may have gone differently if you knew their care wouldn't solely be your responsibility. It's crazy he reinforced that while simultaneously begging for you back. And that is where that story ends. Wow. She dodged a bullet.
I mean, that's going to be a huge adjustment. He seems like an a-hole, but I do also sympathize in the fact that he lost his parents. He's also 24. He's taking care of, 2 young teens. That is a lot. And that is scary. And to also, obviously a-hole move to be like, you need to take care of the kids, but like scary, young person, you don't know what you're doing. So some sympathy I do offer to him. I refuse to be nice to my husband's parents, and it made him upset.
Well, yeah.
My husband of 1.5 years, let's call him Jonathan, is Indian and I'm Southeast Asian. We met at work, fell in love, got married, and I moved to the big city here in the US to be with him where he's based. By the way, this comes from Just No Indian Mother-in-Law, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, we are doing well financially as we both have good jobs in the city. We are double income, no kids, or dinks. So we're able to buy a house in the suburbs, 1 hour away from the city to which we commute every day from work. I drive both of us to work as I'm the only one with driving experience. I have made it clear to him from the very beginning that I hate living with other people, don't like having issues with roommates or extended family. And for the first year of our marriage, I stayed at home while he worked as I was waiting for my work permit. And during this time, I played 50s housewife and did everything for him. Cleaning, laundry, cooking, other errands. Now that we both have jobs and are more financially secure, he invites his mom and dad, both are Indian and in their 60s, from India and told me that they would like to visit for 6 to 9 months. 6 to 9 months? That's also a big disparity, you know, like saying 6 to 9 months.
Yeah, true.
Because 6 months is already a lot, but like the just being like, yeah, there might be 3 extra months.
Yeah, it might be like a week to like, a few years, something like that.
What about 6 to 9 days?
Yeah.
Let's start there. I said that's insane, and I don't want to live with other people in my house for that long, not his parents or my parents. No exceptions. I told him 3 weeks to 1 month is my max, and even then I foresaw some issues that might crop up. He proceeds to negotiate with his mom, who then agrees that 3 months is fine. Again, this is not even close to fine for me, and I let him know. But he guilt trips me into agreeing, and he said his mom and dad are very old, and this will probably be the last time they'll visit. Well, then they can stay in, I don't know, like stay somewhere else.
Yeah.
Get them like a place to live.
Right, because this isn't just a visit. This is like you'll be living with them.
If they're living there for 6 to 9, like get them an apartment, honestly.
Yeah.
He proceeds to buy the ticket, even when I voiced out how this is not going to end well. He thinks I actually agreed to this. Reddit, I don't ever remember being okay with this, and if I have somehow made it seem that I agreed, I really regret being guilt-tripped into that decision, and I wish now that I had more spine. After buying the tickets, we bickered a lot about the decision, and one time he expressed that it was his duty as a son to at least give this as a gift for his parents. Then visiting the US, this will be the second time. First time they stayed for 1 month when I had not moved in with him yet. I told him that since he is married, his primary duty is with me as a husband, and that everyone else should not be his top priority. I get that maybe this is a cultural thing, so I reminded him that I have made it clear in the past that I do not want to live with other people for extended periods of time. He denies that I made that clear before and said that he would like to do this thing for his parents. Then you do it. Go find a new place and you can live there with them.
Yeah.
During this conversation, I of course kind of threw a fit and said he didn't care about my feelings, and he responded that I was a cold-hearted person for not agreeing to let his parents live with us, and how his parents will pass away soon, and how again this might be the last visit. I told him, well, next year they will probably be here again, and you'll say the same thing. And what, you'll let them stay for longer because they'll be older and have more chances of... He says he can't guarantee their passing. And again, that I was a bad person for not feeling sorry for them. Reddit, of course I don't feel bad. I haven't even met them. So I apologized and said, okay, maybe I'm out of line and we'll see. Maybe I'll like them. He says I needed a compromise and that I wasn't compromising at all. Dude, you're not compromising.
Yeah.
OP said, hey, 3 weeks. And you said, okay, 3 months.
Yeah.
The compromise should already be that she's allowing your parents to stay there for 3 weeks, but she said, I don't want to live with anyone else.
Yeah.
That's honestly already compromise on her part.
Like her max is a month, but I'm guessing that's not very comfortable for her still.
I told him, wow, 3 months is a huge compromise.
Mm-hmm.
He also mentioned how his mom is self-absorbed and has cut out almost everyone in her life and doesn't have any good relationships with anyone, including him. So I was of course thinking she'll also be doing some circus while she's here. Well, Reddit, the day finally came and they arrived. Since I'm the only one licensed to drive, I took a day off from work, even though I get paid by the day, and we both picked up his parents from the airport. All's fine and dandy. They seem like nice people, although a little bit traditional. His dad never says much and just watches TV in the living room. His mom spends time with his dad. This is all they do every day, all day. His mom caters to the dad as he's not very mobile, arthritis issues, and we make sure that they have everything they need in the guest room, which is on the second floor. Month 1. They like to spend all their time in the living room, even when we bought them their own TV. My resentment is growing as I would like to spend some time in the shared areas as well, but they're always hogging it. That is really annoying.
Yeah.
I think not like when you have roommates, it feels really chill just to have people always in the living room.
Right.
But when you have like people over who are like who are your roommates' friends or like a because I've had this happen where like a roommate, not here, but like where a roommate was constantly bringing someone over. And they would just kind of always be in the living room.
Yeah.
Like even when they're not there and you're just like, okay, I don't feel like comfortable in my living room anymore.
When you move in with people, it's understanding that like, these are shared areas. So everyone like has equal access to it. But when you are just, having people over, like you're not agreeing to that. And if she's used to living alone with like her and her husband, she's going to want that space for herself sometimes.
Exactly. And also she doesn't really have her own space. Like she has her room, but that is also a shared space.
Shared, right.
So that's tricky.
Oof.
They are always in the living room, in the dining room, in the kitchen. We take them to parks often, of course. I am always the driver. I feel like I'm doing a lot for these people, but it's not enough. I learned from my husband that sometimes mother-in-law criticizes me. She'll find something to say. She also always speaks in Hindi, even though she knows how to speak in English, and sometimes refuses to talk to me, but will talk about me even when I'm in the same room. Since we're in the same house, she often hears me and my husband bicker about stupid things and would later comment how I don't compromise and that we fight too much and couples shouldn't fight. My husband told her that isn't the case and that we're fine. Month 2. My husband and I took a 4-day trip to the neighboring country to have a very minor medical procedure. It's cheaper there. And to have a mini vacation. Husband proceeds to be on video chat with his mom every 5 minutes or so. I voiced out that this is getting annoying as I feel like I'm having a vacation with his mom and not him. He tones it down. During the procedure, the mom kept asking me for updates every 30 seconds. I'm not exaggerating. She just really cares.
She just cares so much.
She just cares so much that she needs like minute by minute breakdown of everything that's happening.
Yeah.
And I told her to chill, as this is a routine procedure. We finally get back home and learn from our friend, who we asked to stay with the parents and home sit while we were gone, that the mom had crap talked us. Mainly how my husband is frustrated with her or how I'm overpowering and domineering. Probably because I'm not a submissive Indian wife. And how she was not consulted when we bought our house. Every other day, my husband blames his mom for being crazy, and then the next day he'll blame me for not being compromising, and he tells me to just suck it up because she's like that and we can't change her. We can not invite her for 3 months though.
Yeah.
That was something that we could have done.
Absolutely in your control.
Some days she'll criticize me to my husband every moment she gets and just generally paint a bad picture of me to him. Month 3. Last month.
We're getting
Home
there.
stretch. We can do this.
Whew.
I'm also a little bit worried that they're going to extend it.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. They're going to get to month 3 and she's going to be like, oh, well, we need to stay here longer.
Yeah, they're just not going to leave.
We have to. Yeah.
Oh, man.
They're going to stay that whole 9 months.
And just guilt trip to get their way.
Yeah.
Dude.
Month 3. There are other little things that I complain to my husband about, such as how mother-in-law is hovering in the kitchen whenever I cook, asking me to rewash vegetables, but she never washes dishes and utensils properly. It's driving me insane. I teach her how to use the dishwasher. She doesn't want to use it ever. She says she would like to sweep the floor. I give her the broom and vacuum, but she never does it. Kitchen floor is always crappy. I end up having to clean all this until on the 3rd month. I have given up on cooking and cleaning. I am growing very resentful as we are paying for everything, and she's not old enough to not contribute to the household. One day we took them for a long drive to see the fall foliage, and she was crap talking in the car about me and my husband in Hindi. I told her that she needs to speak English. She repeatedly said, why? I told her because she's in my car and I'm talking to her. She was saying in Hindi how we have no shame and are being overly clever. I read it. At this point, I wanted to throw her out of my car. Since then, I have not spoken to her. My husband also was very upset, but started talking to her again after a few days. My husband has tried to convince me to be nice to them as they're only here for a few more days. I refuse. He said that this will be the last time he'll invite them because he does acknowledge that his mom is a handful.
Yeah.
But like, that's what you say now, but then, it's going to come because you already had this conversation with OP where she said that I don't want to ever live with anyone else.
Yeah.
And you presumably agreed only to say, oh, I don't remember you ever saying that.
Right.
So like what's to stop
this.
you from saying next time, oh, I don't remember ever saying that this was the last time.
Yeah. Don't trust it. Don't trust it.
Finally, they're leaving next week, and I told my husband on the train today I would not be taking them to the airport. I refuse to put any effort and time and skip work just to drive these horrible people to the airport. It will take 3 hours of my time. I told him to Uber as we can afford it. He became very upset with me and stormed off when we got off the train. I felt really bad that he got mad, so I told my boss I'll take the day off to drive the in-laws. No. Why can't he get a freaking license?
Yeah, what's that about?
What's going on? Like, why do you have to do all of this for his parents?
Right.
And then also get, bad-mouthed and told that you're not compromising or helping out.
Yeah.
When you're doing way more than he is.
You're doing all of it. All of it. Get an Uber.
Get an Uber, buddy. I feel like I'm being taken advantage of and my husband is not defending me. But you can take advantage of full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search Aboki Storytime. But there is a little bit left to the story. Do you have any final thoughts?
This is just so incredibly confusing or frustrating for OP, for surezies. Because she's doing all of this stuff, and like you said, it's like they're crap talking her in front of her. So it's like, guys, acknowledge me and appreciate what I'm doing for you. It's a lot.
Do it.
Yeah. Come on.
No, it's the very least they could do, and they're not even doing that. Like, they're not paying monetarily for this. They're not paying in kindness. They're not helping out around the house. What's
going on?
Where's the point? Where's the appreciation?
Yeah. Also, what's the point of visiting if you are just crap talking the people that you're around?
Literally, why are you even here?
It shows me that you don't really like the people very much. So what's the point of being there?
Reddit, these people are in my house and are disrespecting me and my marriage. My husband has no spine and does not want to draw the line. He wants me to be nice to his parents, who are not even nice to me. I have suggested couples counseling to him, but he has often said that I'm the only one with an issue. He believes that since I have agreed to having them for 3 months, I should suck it up for the 3 months no matter what and not complain. Reddit, am I really so wrong for not putting up with this? And that is the end of that story.
Wow. My ex's wife demands I pay them back for what happened 20 years ago.
No thank you. Not doing that.
So for some background, my ex-husband and I ended things over 20 years ago. When our son was 2, he stepped out. At the time, I was a stay-at-home mom and going to nursing school full-time. He was paying for my schooling. By the way, this comes from Disturbia Hope, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So after he left, I asked him if he would keep paying for my school so I could finish with no debt. He agreed, saying it was the least that he could do. A few months after that, he got his affair partner pregnant.
Weeks, man.
So wow, he left because of an affair, and now she's preggers.
Yeah.
Dang.
Ooh.
Once she got pregnant, she demanded that he stop paying for my schooling. It was 1/5 of their income, and she said that money needed to go towards their new baby. He refused and kept paying for the remaining 1.5 years I had left. Over the years, I continued my education, and now I'm a nurse practitioner.
Oh, yeah.
I do well for myself, and I never remarried. On to the problem. My son called me and told me that he and his wife are expecting.
Exciting!
Wow. I was ecstatic. I asked if I could come over sometime during the weekend to give them some things. His favorite stuffy as a child, a check, and some other small sentimental things. He said yes, so I went over earlier today. I came by and gave him everything, including a check for a few $1,000s for baby stuff, co-pays, the nursery, or anything else they may want. My son and his wife thanked me and told me that the money would be very helpful. My ex-husband and his wife came over a little while later. They surprised them with dinner and didn't know that I would be there. And they saw the check on the counter. My ex's wife asked about it and I said, "Oh, well, I wanted to help out where I could. Everything's so expensive nowadays." I was really just trying to be polite, but I don't think this is any of her business. This woman had the audacity to say, "Well, maybe since you have all this money now, you can finally pay us back all that money that you took when you went to college." I was dumbfounded. My ex has literally never brought up me paying him back. He's always said that it was the least he could do for both me and our son. My ex has done very well for himself in his career. I didn't see how or why they'd need the money. So I asked them, do you guys need the money or something? My ex said no. And she said, of course not. It's about principle. I told her I will absolutely not be paying them back for college tuition from over 20 years ago, especially when she ended up in our marital home while I was living in a small apartment, barely making ends meet for years after I initially finished school. I've never been bitter or mean. I've always been civil since our kids are siblings, but my blood was boiling. I left shortly after that. According to my son, this has been a point of contention in their marriage. She's brought it up a few times over the years in front of him, and she's insisting to him that he needs to convince me to finally pay back what they're owed. The biggest issue is now that the whole dang family is involved. I got calls from 3 separate family members saying that I need to get over myself and just pay back. So am I the a-hole here? And there are some comments, but what's our answer? No. Not
you
the
would
a-hole.
only be the a-hole if your ex was like, hey, do you mind paying back that money? And you were like, no.
It's not on her to ask about this.
No, especially because you literally went, do you guys need the money? And your ex went, nope.
Yeah.
I think you need to have a conversation with your ex and say, hey, do you want me to pay that money back? Because, you never once brought it up. And it seems like only your ex is, or only your wife is interested. And then, go from there, depending on what he says.
I get it if it was a thing where it was like it should be paid back and 20 years have gone by, like, sure, it should still be paid back. But if this is something where it was never brought up or never really a problem to be paid back in the past 20 years, that means it can be forgotten in the 20 years.
I mean, it seems like OP was like, hey, do you mind, helping me out with school? It seems like initially the question was, hey, do you mind giving me like a loan? Yeah. And then the ex was like, no, like, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So they already worked that out 20 years ago.
But there are some comments. Comment number 1 says, tell her it was the adultery tax or that her husband was ensuring that his son would have a good life with either parent, not the a-hole. OP responds, this is exactly what my ex said. He wanted to make sure that we could both afford things for our son. It was in a way a good investment for him because we went half on basically every activity that our kid was in, his first car and his college tuition. We definitely couldn't have done that if I only had a high school education.
Exactly. I mean, yeah. No, investment paid off.
Right. Like, it's not necessarily child support, but it is in a way child support.
It helps out because then
sure.
You don't, he didn't have to pay for all those things solely in the future.
Exactly. But there is an update. So first, I want to clarify some things. Yes, it was our marital home. We bought it after getting married. I didn't fight so hard for it in the divorce for a few reasons, mostly that she was borderline pestering me about how they needed the house for their growing family. I also didn't want to deal with a longer and more drawn out divorce, and it would have been if I fought for the house. Yes, he bought me out of the house. However, it really wasn't much, as it was late 2007. Most of it went towards credit card debt anyway. Another thing, when he was paying for my schooling, we were still legally married. The divorce didn't finalize until after I graduated. There was no child support until after I graduated. There was never any alimony. I did live in the house while I was in school, and they lived in an apartment. He paid all of those bills, including hers, after she got pregnant. So his finances were tight at the time. The family that called weren't my relatives. They were my ex's and his wife's relatives. I thought they were family, but they've since been blocked. So on to the update. I got off work yesterday to find a few missed calls from my son. When I called him back, he tells me that his stepmom has now asked for the money from the check since it was almost the same amount that they spent on my college.
Money from what check?
From the check that OP gave to her son.
Oh, no.
No, not at all.
And that's when the son goes, sorry.
Yeah.
Seems like a you problem.
Right. Now you're just taking money from the son.
Literally, like, why does she need that money?
Yeah. It's just
they have
spite.
enough money. They're comfortable.
Just spite, man.
Just
I don't know.
Spite and greed.
Also, you're the affair partner. There is a bit of hierarchy in this situation.
Yeah, like you knowingly had an affair with a married man.
Yeah, and now you're harboring this resentment. I'm guessing
guilt, like resentment.
I'm guessing this is some sort of resentment towards OP and just like being super bitter. But you are not in a place to do that. You were the affair partner. You were the other woman. So I don't know, man. She said that it was obvious that I'd never pay my debts and that I would just give him, my son, more money anyway. I'm stunned. I'm pissed. I don't know what has possessed her to think to ask my son for money intended for his family. I tell my son to ignore her and I'll handle it. So next, I call my ex. It goes straight to voicemail. I try again a few minutes later and it's the same thing. So I reluctantly call my ex's wife and she answers immediately. I tell her the three of us, my ex, her, and me, need to meet first thing in the morning to discuss the debt. I'm thinking this needs to happen in person with all three of us so that there's no confusion. She agrees. This morning, we met at a coffee shop near my ex's work. As soon as they sit down, I say, "So, ex's wife, want to tell me why you think it's appropriate to ask my son for money?" My ex looks at her and says, "You asked our son for money?"
Uh-oh. You didn't know about that. You're not going to be happy about that.
She starts on about how she was only asking for the money that they're, quote, owed, and she didn't ask for more than was on the check. Then she says, "For years, we've struggled to paying for your school. For years, we couldn't afford a new car, a new house, or a nanny. My kids had to share a room."
Oh, boo-hoo.
Boo-hoo, dude.
A lot of kids had to share rooms.
Yeah, like, have a problem with the husband then and not OP.
Like, why is this OP's issue?
Exactly.
Also, sorry, you couldn't afford a nanny?
Yeah, like, a lot of people can't afford a nanny. That's
not
an expensive thing.
Yeah. Come on.
She goes on about her struggles. And I started to tune her out because I keep thinking that there's no way she's this deluded. It may have been inappropriate, but I laughed. I literally took out thousands in credit card debt to keep me and my son afloat while my, at the time, husband was shacking up with her and paying her bills. My ex looks at her and says, "What the heck, Sarah?" I added, "It's laughable that you think you're owed anything from while you were a mistress. We were married when he paid for my schooling. It's quite literally none of your business how he chose to spend money. You had zero entitlement to his money until you said, 'I do.' And from what I recall, that wasn't until years after the divorce was even finalized. Do not contact me or my son about this money again. You will never see a dime from me." Wow.
Yeah.
That was a great response.
Yeah. Honestly, also very important information that
we didn't know.
They weren't married.
Yeah.
Until like way after all of this money.
After.
You know?
Yeah. And the fact that their family was struggling while he was paying for the affair partner.
Exactly.
That's
exactly
literally the same exact situation that she's complaining about. And OP isn't asking for that money back.
Yeah.
She rolls her eyes and gets up to leave. My ex tells her that he's going to stay for a minute. After she's gone, he asks why I didn't just call him and tell him about what was going on. He said he would have handled it and that it didn't have to go this far. I say I did call him twice, actually. And this is how we figured out that she's blocked my number from his phone.
Oh, dang.
Whoa.
Dang.
Crazy. So those of you who said that she's just very insecure, you were absolutely correct. By the way, you would be absolutely correct if you just listened to full episodes with more stories just like this one on iHeartRadio, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. Just search OK Storytime.
It's the correct thing to do.
The correct thing to do. And there is a little bit more story, but I feel like we've gotten so much information in these past few sentences.
Really? Like, really everything is coming out right now.
Yeah. A lot of very important information. So glad that the husband is not on the affair partner's side.
Clearly in the dark about a lot of what she's been doing.
Yeah. So, it's not 2 against 1 in this situation. Or at least not 2 against OP.
Exactly.
Wow. There is a little bit more to the story. I tell him that she involved his sister, cousin, and his sister-in-law. That I got several cars and texts from them telling me that I should just pay back my debt. Finally, I tell them that she involved the family and then asked our son for money intended for his baby. She has crossed too many lines. He apologizes and says that he'll make sure that she doesn't bother me about it again. We both leave after that. My son told me that he blocked her number and doesn't want her at his house until she apologizes. And that's pretty much it for now. I discovered my husband's betrayal, so I got back at him.
As you should.
This is a long post, so strap in, guys. I, now 34 female, and my ex-husband, now 36 male, let's call him Bob, were married for nearly 10 years, together for 12, but had known each other since our early teens. By the way, this comes from Spirited Lecture 806, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. Woo! So, he moved 4 hours away from his family to be with me, but we were happy, or so I thought. Over our 12-year relationship, we got married, had 2 beautiful children, and bought our home. The one thing that he always wanted was a canine companion, but I never did. Eventually, I caved and we adopted a little doggy sidekick. This is important later. Over the years, he went through countless jobs. He would constantly be on sick leave or wait months between ending one job and starting another. He lost his job when I was 6 months pregnant with our youngest and didn't get back into work until he was 4 months old. I, however, worked all the hours I could to keep food on the table and the bills paid. My ex-mother-in-law was sending £1,500 a month to help us pay the mortgage and his side of the bills. He paid for the mortgage and his car, and I paid everything else. He lost his job in the summer of 2023, and in early 2024, my friend's husband offered him a job working for his company. All he needed to do was speak to the managing director. He did this and self-sabotaged the interview, telling them that he was depressed and would struggle to work.
Come on.
Why would you do that? Why would you? You can't go
on.
into a job interview and be like, yeah, I'm not going to be a good
Why
worker.
would you even do the job interview if you were going to do that? Just be like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm not looking for anything right now.
Yeah,
Don't self-sabotage in the interview.
exactly. Safe to say, I was not best pleased, and this caused an argument of epic proportions. The next day, I was going to a baby shower, and he said that he would drive me there and take the kids to the local park, but he decided to stay in bed. I found childcare for the children and went anyway. While I was there, I received a text saying that he was off to see his family and would be back at some point. Fair enough, it may have been what he needed. 10 days later, around the children's bedtime, he rocks up, banged the door open, and said, "Miss me? Just to let you know, the marriage is over. We are selling the house and getting rid of the dog."
What?
Whoa.
What kind of energy is that?
What?
He kicks the door up and goes,
Yeah.
"Miss me?
Miss
Marriage
me?
over. Taking the house. Getting rid of the dog."
That's crazy.
Who does that?
What did she do?
Who does that?
So wild. This sent my son into a complete meltdown.
He did that in front of the kids?
Yeah.
I thought it was just at the same time as the bedtime. He did that
Well, it
in
is, I
front
guess,
of the kids?
Around the bedtime, they were probably like about to go to bed.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. This sent my son into a complete meltdown as the dog is his best friend in the whole world. I ended up leaving with the children and went to stay with my family. I wasn't able to take the dog with me due to my parents having a cat who hates dogs. Over the coming months, I occasionally went down to the house to get the things that the kids needed. Toys, clothes, etc. But he expected me to ask for permission before going to the house. I think not. Here are a few things that he did while I was living at my parents'. He didn't set up the bills in his name. I had canceled everything which was in my name. If I'm not living there, I'm not paying. He saw the kids for 2 hours a week after school, one of which my son was feeling poorly, and by the time I got to him, he was nearly hospitalized due to how high his fever was because Bob forgot to give him pain relief or even buy some from the shop that he had been in earlier that day, knowing that his son was unwell. Wow, man.
Terrible dad alert.
Oh my goodness. He also started packing all his belongings, but said that he wasn't moving out. Strange, but important for the next part. He tried to sell the house without my permission or acknowledgement. He begged me to sell the house, said that he would pay for the divorce if I agreed to sell, but he was informed that once the divorce was finalized, then I would think about it. This is where it gets juicy. I had been at my parents' for around 6 weeks when I decided to go to the house and get some bits I needed for the warmer weather for me and the children. When I walked in, he was sat on the sofa looking worried. He informed me that the house was being repossessed due to the arrears on the mortgage. What arrears? I wasn't aware of any. He said that it was from when he was out of work and only paying the bare minimum. Plausible, yes, but when he said that it was £7,000, something didn't sit right.
Yeah, he's lying to you.
Yeah.
Obviously. He's been lying to you.
The next day, I rung the mortgage company and explained my situation. I explained that I had never dealt with the mortgage, so I literally have no clue about all this. The lovely woman I spoke to told me that he had not been paying the mortgage for a year and had canceled the payments 13 months before. As you would expect, I was angry, hurt, all of it, but I used it to my advantage. I asked the mortgage company to send me a printed version of the mortgage statement, and my plan was set into motion. It was the longest 2 weeks of my life. As you will remember from earlier in my post, my ex-mother-in-law was sending him money to cover all of the bills, including the mortgage. So I wrote her a letter, explained what I had found out, and nicely attached a copy of the statements for proof. This letter sat on my bedside table for weeks, and every time I spotted it, I giggled a bit. A few weeks later, he asked if he could have the children as his cousin, 45 female, let's call her Tracy, was visiting. I agreed, and they had a lovely time. He said that he was off away that weekend to Tracy's family to see them, as it had been a while. Perfect timing for part 2 of my plan. He went on Thursday, which was also the day that I sent the letter to mother-in-law. Next day, recorded delivery. And I would be informed when it had been received. On the Friday, I went to the house to get more things, only to find the security chain that had been put on the inside of the door, so I couldn't get in. What? Is locking her out? Ay, ay, ay. I went to the neighbors who were, quote, looking after the dog to ask for the back door key, to which he looked confused. The dog had been left in the cage and was going to be in there all weekend. No food, no water, and sitting in her own mess. I broke the chain off of the door to get her. She was a mess. She was skinny and covered in fleas. At this point, I haven't seen her in maybe 4 weeks. The house was disgusting. The smell was vile, and there was rubbish all over. Empty adult soda cans, moldy food, you name it. Only days earlier, my children were playing in that mess.
Dude, you gotta call like CPS, animal, whatever.
Right.
Like, this is
hazardous.
My gosh.
This
is hazardous and also just like abuse to your animal.
Yeah, absolutely. I felt sick to my stomach. How can he even think that that was an acceptable place to have the children in? He rung me not long after I got in the house, and I told him everything. I told him I know about the mortgage. I told him I was taking over the mortgage and that he can come and get his stuff out of the house. I punted his sorry butt out.
Good.
He was aware that his mom had gotten my letter and had ripped him a new one because of it. The next day, I rallied my troops, and we got the house cleaned, tidied, and livable again. Me and my babies had our home back, but not before I got some revenge. Bob has a shoe issue. He keeps all his shoes in the original boxes. So being the petty bee I am, I separated every pair, put them in different bags, and put the boxes in the recycling. There were some important documents which were folded into tiny squares and placed in different bags. I unpacked the expensive knife set that I bought and put it back into my kitchen. And the best one, I found a half-used box of Viagra, so I pocketed that for later pettiness. This is pretty wild.
I'm a little worried about you, OP.
Yeah. Later that night, he rung, and I told him everything would be on the driveway the next day for him to come and collect it, or it was going in the bin. Sure enough, he turned up, and greeting him was the packet of Viagra front and center of all his stuff. Me and my troops were all watching from the bedroom window while him, Tracy, and his friend packed everything into the cars, and my uncle and aunt sat on the bench opposite, watching and waving him off. By the way, just like how you're watching us now, you can also listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio. We've got full episodes with more stories just like this one. So search, okay, Storytime. We're on there. We're on there. But oh my gosh, there's a little bit more to the story, but wow.
Wowee!
Whoa.
I'm also just a little bit confused with like what the actual pettiness is. Like she put all of his shoes into bags and put them on the
I think maybe it's playing to his organizational issues or something. If he always like keeps them in certain boxes, he's just like she's just separating them and spreading them all out, so it's like hard to deal with. I've seen some petty moves that are worse than that.
Yeah, I mean it's really like it doesn't sound like crazy.
Yeah.
I was really worried about the knife thing. I was like, is she gonna put a knife in the? But it doesn't seem like she's doing anything with a knife.
She's just keeping the knives.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't recommend pettiness, especially when it like anytime someone's messing with another person's property. That can get a little bit dicey in terms of legality. But it seems like you haven't really done anything
right.
awful.
Right. A few days later, I found out that Bob and Tracy were in a relationship.
Dude, I freaking called it.
Yes, they are cousins.
Wait, no, I didn't call that. I just thought, oh, he's lying that they're not cousins and they're actually in a relationship, but they're both.
Yeah, I was like, wait a second. Wasn't it like the family that was like helping him out? Like, Bob and Tracy are in a relationship with their cousins.
Ew.
And
Jail.
Bob is the husband. Yeah.
Jail.
Oh my
Ring,
gosh.
ring, ring. Police. Jail.
So he had cheated on me with her before we had split up. Oh my gosh. He is still a jobless bum living 4 hours away from his kids with his mom, who, by the way, didn't take kindly to me outing her son as such a bad person. He sees his children once every 6 weeks and is forced to pay child support. As for me, I'm still living in my house. I have been promoted. I have a new partner who is amazing, and me, my 2 children, and our doggy sidekick are all doing amazing. And that is the end of that story.
What? I didn't see that coming.
Yeah,
I didn't see that coming.
Some crazy left turns in that one.
So many left turns that we did a circle.
We did a circle.
We did a little, like, I guess a square.
And accidentally kept it in the
we
family.
accidentally kept it in yep, wow.
Wow. Not where I was expecting that was gonna go.
No,
Goodness
thank God
gracious.
you're out of that.
Yeah. Glad you're doing well now. Crazy journey to get there, but wow.
My best friend kissed my husband. It almost ruined our marriage.
Well, did the husband like it? That's the real question.
I, 28 female, have been with my husband, 27 male, for 6 years. Married for 4. We have 2 kids, 3 female and almost 1 female. Everything in a relationship was perfect for us. He's been the best husband and father to our kids that I could have asked for. I'm absolutely in love with him, and his actions and words have always shown me that he feels the same way. There's no other better feeling than going to sleep in his arms every night. By the way, this comes from Throwaway Jello 73, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So last week, my husband and I had some friends over, and we were having a barbecue. We were all outside in the backyard surrounding my husband, who was on the grill. As the food got closer to be ready to eat, we were all sitting at our backyard table. Once the food was all ready and at the table, my husband went inside to use the washroom, get another case of beer. I didn't realize that my best friend, 28 female, had followed him. When he wasn't coming back out, my best friend hid behind the wall separating our kitchen and living room and surprised him by pulling him and forcing a kiss. My husband immediately pushed her back and yelled, "What the F?" She immediately started crying and ran out of the house and left. My husband came back to the backyard and asked to speak to me privately and immediately told me what just happened. I was shocked and told him that it would be okay and that we could talk about it after everyone else left. I managed to put on appearances for the next couple of hours. I was just mentally distraught. After everyone left, my husband sat me down and told me what happened, showed me the footage from our living room camera. It was exactly as my husband had described it. My best friend of 10 years, the person I treated my literal sister, kissed my husband. After the 3rd date with my husband, she was the one that I told I was going to marry him. She knows how much I love him and how strong our relationship is. And she still chose to come in the middle for F's sakes. Our 3-year-old calls her auntie. My best friend tried showing up the next day just to talk, and my husband had to hold me back from beating the crap out of her. He punted her out and told her not to come back, not to kiss him anymore. It's almost been a week now, and I'm nowhere close to moving on. I don't blame my husband one bit. He's completely innocent in this, and if anything, he's the victim. I've been lying down my husband's chest and crying every day and night. I'm so angry and frustrated. Don't know what to do. My husband's been amazing, and like always, he just gets it and understands how I'm feeling. He brought me flowers almost every day and cooked my favorite meals multiple times in the last few days. I love him and appreciate him all the more for it. I just don't know how I'm going to move on and trust any of my friends after this. Got some comments. 1, I hate the guy who thinks there must be more to the story, but something just ring 100% true to me. Other commenters have raised the thought that they had an affair and she was not aware of the cameras. He might be trying to get ahead of it by doing damage control. Maybe he led her on, or even if it was out of naivete, trying to be kind but sending mixed signals. Cheating would explain why he's buying you flowers and cooking for you, love bombing you to secure forgiveness. I won't dwell on this, but it is possible. Let's look at it from the other perspective that I rarely see brought up in posts like this. If everything is 100% as described here, your husband was spicily related, mistreated, and has no ability to deal with his trauma because he is taking care of you. You are suffering, and you have every right to be upset. This will sound harsh, but for the good of your relationship with your husband, quit being selfish and allow your man to deal with what happened to him. He was harmed in his home. Be there for him. Your post sounds like you are so focused on how you feel and that you have not considered how he feels. He is a good man to just focus on you. He will likely never tell you how he feels after this because he will default to taking care of the woman he loves. This is not healthy, and this will cause resentment. He will feel like he can never feel emotional because you are teaching him that your feelings matter more than his. Be there for him. Even if he says it's not a big deal, don't force him to talk about it, because he probably won't. But make sure he knows that he is still your rock star. Love and treasure him. Let him know that you are there for him. It will mean the world to him, even if he never shows it. We got an update.
Oh boy. That was a great comment.
It really was.
Honestly.
Not see from that point of view.
And we got like 2 point of views too. Like, one, you have to focus on his feelings. 2, he could have just been lying for the cameras.
Could have been lying for the camera. And I think it just shows like how much we dismiss Mel like assaulted.
Yeah.
It's he's a man, he'll figure it out.
Yeah. But no, that's absolutely not okay and non-consensual.
After reading a lot of the comments, I realized that it was possible that my husband was having an affair with my best friend, and he knew about the camera and acted accordingly to make sure I didn't suspect an affair. Her running out of the house crying, my husband showing me the footage before I asked, and his love bombing would all make sense if he was cheating with my best friend. I can't be with a cheater, and I had to make sure my husband was loyal to me. On a side note, I made sure that my husband was okay and well after being forcibly kissed, and he just said he was fine and didn't feel like a harmful act, just a kiss. He said that he was just worried about me because he knew how much friendship meant to me. Over the weekend, I looked through my husband's phone and laptop while he was doing yard work. Both of us had full access to each other's phones, and I didn't find out anything out of the ordinary on my husband's phone. I checked his messages, WhatsApp, social media, and deleted messages folder. There was nothing suspicious on his phone or laptop. This morning after my husband left to go to work, I arranged for our next door neighbors, a friendly elderly couple, to watch the girls for a couple of hours, and I went to my best friend's place without telling her I was coming. She works afternoon shifts, so I knew she would be there in the morning. She let me in. She seemed scared. I demanded to know the truth. She said that she had always been really attracted to my husband. She had tried to make advances before, but my husband always shut her down. She admitted to being jealous of me and my perfect life with my husband. I should have seen the signs earlier. When our firstborn was learning to speak, my best friend would always try to get her to call her mama. When she held her daughter for the first time, she accidentally sat in my husband's lap.
Huh?
She has been trying to replace me for years, and I never noticed, and my husband kept rejecting her advances because he only wanted me. She said that she had wasted more than she should have at the barbecue and decided to just try her luck when she saw my husband going inside alone. I forced her to show her phone as well. And again, there was nothing implying an affair. All the messages appeared to line up with my husband's phone, so I knew there was nothing deleted or manipulated. She apologized profusely and asked me not to end our friendship over this. I told her that she's nothing to me and that she could have been happy for me. I treated her like a sister all these years just for her to try and steal my life. Now I know for sure that my husband never cheated. The guilt for doubting him is eating me up. If I tell him that I snooped through his phone and laptop and met up with my ex-best friend to verify that he wasn't cheating, it's going to impact our marriage. He will be very disappointed in me for not trusting him. And if anything, he will lose his trust in me. If I don't tell him, the guilt is going to continue to eat me up. I never lied or kept secrets from him before, and I don't want to start now. This is an impossible choice. He's only ever shown me how much he loves me and cherishes me. He doesn't deserve to be betrayed like this. I will update more when I tell him the truth. And we got the truth, guys.
All right. Wow. What would you do if you had a friend that was trying to steal your life?
Definitely have a conversation. Give him a conversation. Say, leave my life alone and my wife. And my children, they are mine. Go get your own. You can probably find one online. Sure. But he definitely wouldn't be my friend anymore. Because I can't trust him alone with my wife or my kids.
And it's also just such a weird thing to do. Like, stop.
Roles reversed.
Yeah.
A man was doing this to a woman.
Yeah. No, it's the same kind of thing. Yeah. Like, just you're harassing OP's husband, which is absolutely not okay. So that's one reason to not keep this woman around. Trying to, like, you could confuse the children. I don't know. If like, what if she tries to, like, kidnap the children or something? That happens. Yeah. Just, like, not a comfortable situation to be in. So take yourself out of it.
We got an update. I told my husband everything, that I looked through his phone and laptop, and that I confronted my ex-best friend. Showed him both Reddit posts and told him even the few comments that speculated he was having an affair and made me paranoid, and I acted on it. By the way, you can act on going to your favorite freaking podcast platform right after this story, searching up OK Storytime. Boom. You will see more crazy stories just like this. Angelina, we got more left.
Oh, yeah.
Anything else to say?
Let's just roll right into it. I'm based on the title, I'm really scared to see how he reacts to this.
I apologized to him for doubting him and thanked him for always being an amazing husband and always turning on her advances and for spoiling me, and especially when I was down. Also, this whole time, it's just like her.
Yeah. She did have a moment where she asked how he felt, and he was like, it's just a kiss. It's fine. I don't feel, like, harmed by it. So that is good.
Un momento.
Yeah, not a lot.
He said that he understands and that he should have told me earlier about her trying her luck. I'm also starting therapy next week to try to figure out my paranoia and trust issues, process the ending of a friendship, and in general, try and get into a better mental space so I can be better as an individual, wife, and mother. Added to that, post pretending to be my husband is not my husband. And we got all the facts, guys.
Okay, so I was scared that the husband was going to be mad at her for, like, snooping or something.
Yeah, me too.
It sounds like we're okay.
Sounds like we're all good. Yeah, all good in the hood.
Sounds like he understands.
Yep. Solid guy. I don't want this guy to be my husband.
Yeah.
If this happened to me, I'd be like, oh, baby. Help me. What do I do? All right. Everyone was 28 and 27. 28 male, 28 female, 27 female, and 27 male.
That is the end of that story. But we've got another one.
My wife cheated on me, but it made me happy.
Well, go ahead then, wife.
I, 26 male, have been married to my wife, 26 female, Lana, for 8 years now. I met her 16 years ago in elementary school. We started dating in middle school and slept together for the first time in high school.
Oh.
In our young minds, we thought we were absolutely in love. Nothing would tear us apart. By the way, this comes from Burner X Satisfied, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, I grew up in Georgia as a Baptist, where there's a kind of weird Christian attitude about spicy stuff and all that. I don't know. I've never really been religious, and neither has my wife. We didn't really care, but my parents did. They always got on my back that if I was having spicy sleep with this girl, I had to marry her. Her parents weren't as strict about it, but essentially I was forbidden from seeing her. Why didn't you should just not tell them. Don't tell them.
Secrets.
Yeah.
That's the answer.
My parents told me at 17 that I would be punted out of the house if I didn't marry Lana. Looking back now, I don't think they would have gone through with leaving me on the streets for not breaking up with a girl. I'm pretty sure they were trying to manipulate me into living the life they wanted for me. So we got a courtroom marriage. Her parents were cool with it.
Y'all are so funny.
I'm sorry, y'all are 17 and her parents were like, yeah, I guess you can get married.
This is crazy.
We'll be there.
It's crazy. We have to get married because my parents told me
My parents said we have to get married.
They're going to grab me if I don't propose.
My mom said it's okay if we get married if your mom buys snacks.
My mom's going to drive us to the courtroom. We can pick you guys up if your mom brings us home.
Yeah. My mom said I could sleep over if we get married.
Yeah.
They had 3 kids to a room and were glad to have more space in the house. We always talked about having a real wedding one day, but with everything going on in life, we just never got around to it. I got to be married at 18 to the love of my life and still go to finish high school and live with my parents. Since then, I've gotten a lot of therapy. I realized just how horrible it was for my parents, religious or not, to force their own child to get married so that he wouldn't disappoint Jesus by having spicy sleep with one person. It's not like I was even trying to follow any of their other standards. Let's fast forward to the present day. A few years later, we moved out into our own dingy little apartment. I got a job apprenticing to a plumber to pay rent, but neither me nor Lana could afford school. And my dad was only willing to pay if I went to church college or something. I've considered it many times, but it's whatever. Eventually, I kind of just stopped loving Lana. It's not that she stopped being physically attractive to me or anything. It's just that over the years, she did basically nothing. She never got a job. She never did work around the house. Most days she would just play video games, smoke devil's lettuce with me, and then we'd pass out or have spicy sleep. So the thing that you got married for is the only thing you do. She didn't cook, didn't clean. Hell, I even had to do the laundry after work at midnight some nights just so I'd have something to wear in the morning. Dang. I felt trapped. I wanted to divorce her so badly. I talked to her about changing so many times that I feel like I had the same conversation over and over and over. She'd get a job and quit after a month. She'd cook 3 meals in an entire week and then stop for months. These aren't things you find out about a woman in high school. So we started to get a little distant. Spicy sleep reduced to once a month, if that. We didn't even hang out most nights. When I'd come home, she'd be sleeping or way too baked to hold a decent conversation with. In the morning, she would go to Starbucks for coffee and some other baked goods. Sometimes she'd get something for me, sometimes not. Why didn't I divorce her? Well, honestly, it was just about alimony. I could barely afford to pay rent as it is, but divorcing her, I know she'd get some kind of share of the money I already have an issue keeping. With everything about my parents, I wasn't willing to move in with them, so I just felt trapped where I was. I know of too many stories where people get a divorce and have to pay alimony for the rest of their lives, and that just seems like too much for me to handle.
What?
One day, while out on the job, I had a panic attack because of everything going on and decided to go home early. I live 5 minutes away from where I was working. I texted Lana on the way home that I would be there soon. Lana answered the door in her lingerie, nearly out of breath.
Uh-oh.
Well, that was suspicious already, but there was no one in the apartment, so I didn't think anything of it immediately.
Not anymore.
Thought maybe she was having some alone time and the lingerie helped her get in the mood or something. But that night, it ate at me. I didn't voice any concerns to her. I just let it eat away at me. The next morning, I called in sick without telling Lana, drove off, and snuck back to our apartment complex. I watched our apartment until I saw a Jeep roll up and a man walked out. He walked up to our first floor apartment and Lana opened the door and let him in. This wasn't a man I'd ever seen before, but I knew what was going on. I went into my apartment, burst into the bedroom to see them already unclothed with each other, and took some pictures. Okay, OP. Ignoring her cries, I packed up a bag with any clothes I could find and left. Why am I happy about this? I think we all know. I think we've all intuited.
Yep.
I live in Georgia, where adultery is considered a crime. No alimony for cheaters.
There you go.
Can you go to jail? Is it a jail crime or is it just a fine crime?
Hopefully not a jail crime.
It's like a civil court crime, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, so you're
like
not
fraud.
going to go to jail, but you're going to pay
is that
money?
called like a misdemeanor? No.
No, I don't think so.
It's probably like a money thing, I'm assuming.
That's what you're probably right. Or at least like reason to not get alimony.
Yeah. I felt like I had the entire world ahead of me as I drove away. I know I need a lawyer. I know I need to cover my tracks and all of that. She doesn't use Reddit, so she won't see this, but man, sometimes it's good to be cheated on.
Wow.
Okay, sure, OP. All right. There is an update, folks, but I don't know if I have advice for OP.
I'm happy for him.
I mean, like, good for you. You're getting your dreams. You're going to break up with this lady that you have dated since you were 17.
Yeah. Do we know how old they are now?
Well, he said 7 years, so probably 24.
Oh. Yeah, and you're still so young.
Yeah, you're young. That's my age. That's young.
So like you'll be totally fine in like just starting a new relationship. Easy.
Anyway, update.
Yeah.
First off, I've already been meeting with a lawyer about everything. She says the case is pretty cut and dry and I should be able to get away without any alimony as long as I present this affair unalive my marriage attitude about it. She's helping me draft up my divorce papers now. I also saw a doctor and am currently awaiting test results for STDs and STIs. Doctor thinks they'll come back negative based on lack of symptoms, but you know how it is. On to the good stuff. When I drove away, my phone was ringing like crazy. Obviously, I didn't answer it. I didn't want to hear from her. I called up a friend of mine, grew up going to the same church as him, great guy, currently working on becoming a pastor for the church I used to go to with him. I told him everything, and he invited me to stay with him until the whole thing is settled. He also encouraged the divorce, telling me I need to take it easy for a while. I didn't block Lana on anything. I'd usually just let the phone ring about a dozen times in an hour and then move on with my day. I've been applying for jobs all over the world because honestly, I just want to get out of here. I mean, dude, yeah, you don't have any of the same beliefs as the people around you. You don't have kids. You're not going to be married for long. You have nothing tying you here. Go explore.
Get out of there.
Honestly,
find somewhere where it's a little more accepting of having spice of sleep before marriage.
Also, if you get a job, you get a work visa, and then maybe you can find some, you live there for a year, and then you get residency, and then you can get really cheap education. I honestly have no idea what I want to do with my life anymore, because before all I did was just make money to support myself and Lana financially. Never really thought about a life without her until now, TBH. Of course, a few fantasies here and there in passing, but nothing like definite. I really like animation though. Maybe that. I don't know. About 3 days later, I caved. I answered the phone during one of Lana's many attempts to contact me. We spoke on that phone for a few hours about, well, everything. Life, our lives together, etc. I kept the impression that I'm just a heartbroken man who wants to end the marriage because she cheated and for no other reason. But the conversation went a little deep. Honestly, there really is part of me that still loves this woman from the bottom of my very soul. Most of my life has been spent with her and it's just kind of over, you know? I mean, yeah, this is a woman that you have known, like have been with, since middle school.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're going to care for her, but that doesn't mean that you have to stay in this part of your life. It just means, you're going on to a new part, and that's scary sometimes. Right. She told me about the guy after I hesitantly asked. He was just a random guy she met on a hookup app. Her depression was starting to border on self-harming, and she thought that if she cheated, it might bring some excitement back into her life. She admitted that it did for the first couple of times, but after that, it grew just as stale as the rest of her life. It was over 3 months that she cheated with random guys, always with protection, and she would usually get an STD test after moving on to the next guy.
Dang.
At least she cheated in a way that, wouldn't hurt you.
Yeah,
like,
it's safe. She's doing it in a safe way.
Mm-hmm. I'm still very happy she did what she did so I could move on with my life, but I feel like I failed as a husband completely. You're still a kid.
Yeah.
She told me she thinks she failed as a wife and doesn't blame me for wanting a divorce after this. Lana said after a few days she's going to move out of the apartment so that I can move back in since I'm the one paying for it. It's been years since her parents were overwhelmed with too many kids in the house, so she's going to move back in with them and start over on her life too. By the way, you can always start over with us by listening to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime.
Yup.
But there's a little bit left of the story.
Let's see it.
I can say I'm still happy about everything going on. I'm looking forward to the future, and I'm happy to still be young in this situation. And I'm happy that my financial status will be okay for the foreseeable future. But this person, who is my best friend, closest confidant, and who my entire life was devoted to, is just gone. My life feels completely empty, more than it did when I was with her. I'm going to reach out to a therapist again and get this all sorted in my head before I maybe leave the country. Crazy thought in my head is that maybe in a few years, if Lana can get her crap together, I could go back to her. Try again with her. I think by that time, you'll realize that you have both moved on to different parts of your life.
Yeah.
But for now, I'm going to live a single life. I'm not going on any dates with any women for a long time. It's going to be hard enough having to learn how to even do that.
Yeah.
But that's the excitement. Learning new things.
Yeah. This will be a good thing to learn.
Yeah.
Totally. Be single. Definitely don't jump into another relationship.
Yeah.
Be single. Travel. Learn new skills.
Travel the world.
Make friends.
Yes.
You got it. You got it, dude.
But that is the end of that story.
My wife went out with a recently divorced friend and lied about her whereabouts.
Where is she?
Last Saturday, on June 28th, my wife went out with a friend who was recently divorced. She invited my wife out to a brewery for a fundraiser, and she had told me that she would be gone from about 4 to 8. She took our youngest to their house to play with her friend's child, who are the same age, and their teenage daughter who was going to watch them. By the way, this comes from Below Average Dad, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So fast forward to 9ish, and I haven't heard from her. I know they left the brewery and apparently decided to go bar hopping to find her man.
Ooh.
Okay, not a big deal to me. I'm comfortable with her being a wingman anytime. Around 11, I text her to see how it's going. And again, looking for a man for the friend. I send back the laugh emoji and a thumbs up. Crickets until 1 a.m. She says my son is asleep and she is sleeping there and she's being the designated driver. I doubt that, but my wife is pretty good at pacing herself. At this point, I find it really odd that she wouldn't just wake up our kid and come home at 1 a.m. So I get I get curious and check to see where her car is. It's a newer car, so the app shows the location, and they're at another bar until about 1:30. This is where it gets uncomfortable for me. They leave and go to a random house, nowhere near her friend's house or anything. I find it a little odd. Her car doesn't leave from that point on. Around 2:30, I decide that I need to do some recon. It's about a 20-minute drive, but away from town. I drive out there, and there's a house and barn and clearly a party going on. I get out and get close enough that I can hear people and music, but not close enough to really see because it was a gravel driveway and I didn't want to make noise. So I sit around for about an hour deciding how I should handle the situation. Do I wait until Sunday and ask her how everything went last night and what time they got in and see if she lies to me? Or do I confront the situation? Around 3:30, I decide I need to just drive up and see what happens. I pull up with my lights off. Nobody notices because of the music. I peek into the barn and there's a camper trailer with no lights on. I go over to the house and see my wife's friend and two guys talking. I peek in the window and nobody else is visible. I walk in the front door and say I'm looking for my wife. And the two guys look surprised. And one guy introduces himself. I was happy it didn't get confrontational. My wife's friend immediately walks out and takes me over to a different camper trailer and walks in and shuts the door. And I quickly hop in there and my wife is sleeping on the bed. So we go outside and I'm like, I just had to make sure my wife is safe, but explain that I don't think it's okay that a married person would meet random guys and go to their house. There is some other dialogue, but for the sake of time, I'll spare some of that. But basically, I peace out and just say that I'm mostly upset that they would leave my child unaccompanied all night. And if they wanted to go bar hopping all night, I wouldn't really care. But I don't think married couples should be in a position like this because they spent the whole night there. Next morning at 7:30 a.m., my wife texts me and says that they're at my wife's friend's house. So she comes home around 2 p.m. on Sunday. And I walk in with my other kids and she's like, "Are you still mad at me for falling asleep?" I didn't say anything to her. And we had a sports barbecue that I ended up being at until about 9 p.m. with my kids. And she was asleep when I got home. I got up early this morning and went to work. Am I the a-hole or am I too crazy for confronting the situation? Part of the reason I decided to drive out there is that in June 2024, my wife was on a work trip to New York City and she had a stroke in her hotel room. And her coworkers called me at 6 a.m. the next morning to ask if I had heard from my wife. And I said no. I tracked her through Find My iPhone and she was at the hospital. Her family has a history of strokes, her sister at 35 and her brother at 33 and her dad at 40. So I'm cautious of her going out without me. We do have an update.
Yikes.
But wow, man.
Yeah, just like a lot of lack of communication going on right here, which is
Exactly.
not good.
It's the problem.
It is a problem.
It's like weird because it's, definitely a lack of communication with like the stuff in New York City, which, you know, if she's actively having a stroke, maybe she like can't just like text really quick.
Yeah,
but at
that's
the same time,
true.
I feel like they would be like, "Hey, is there anyone we can call?"
Yeah.
But I don't know how
Do you have
hospitals
a
work.
husband that we can call?
Yeah, I feel like that would happen, right? Like,
I would hope so. I would certainly hope so.
Yeah. But then in this modern situation, it's like it's not even that she's not communicating, is that she's lying
She's
about
just lying.
what's
yeah.
happening.
She's lying. She's staying over at random people's
So-
houses when she's supposed to be picking up the kids.
Exactly.
Yeah, and all the people who saying legal age can be any age. That's kind of the point of that joke because we don't know their age. So
It's very true. We don't know the age, but I'm pretty sure
all we
it's
know
young.
is probably 2+, which is Lego age.
Yeah, I'm
2+.
gonna guess they're around like 6 to 9.
Yeah,
That's my guess.
indeed.
But we do have a second update. Yeah, OP, I don't think you are in the wrong.
No.
We had about 10 to 15 minutes to talk before I had to go to a meeting. I asked flat out if she had spicy sleep, and she said no. Then she made a snarky comment of, "But I easily could have." And that completely derailed me.
Wait. What did Opie ask?
If she had spicy sleep that night.
Yeah, that's what I thought she had. and she said, "Oh,
She said
no, but I could have." But I could have.
What? She said that her friend knew whose house it was and knew the guys and that there was another married couple there. She said that both guys that I talked to knew that she was married. She said that they were friends she's known for a while but has a crush on one. And clarifying, my wife's friend supposedly knows them and my wife's friend has a crush on one. Okay, yeah. That's exactly what you just said, OP. So, okay. But thanks for clarifying.
Thank you.
It took a while for me to get an apology. Not going to lie, this sucks bad. She almost has no remorse. She admitted that it was a stupid thing to do, but felt that she couldn't leave her friend and come home.
What?
I said, that's ridiculous. You should have grabbed our kid at 1 to 2 and drove home. She said that she'll never do it again. I brought up if I did that, how it would look. And that's basically the only way I got an apology or acknowledgement that it was a bad idea. But she also deflected that because my mom cheated, that I was comparing her to my mom.
Oh.
I said, no, I'm not accusing you of anything, but that I'm sure that this is how it starts out.
Girl, she's pulling the pointing fingers thing. She's like, oh, it's because you have trauma.
Yeah.
That's why you're blaming me. No, I'm blaming you because you literally just said I could have if I wanted to.
Yeah. Yeah. Like what?
Like freaking, Nixon being like, no, I didn't do anything, but I could have.
Like if you don't want to be compared to this mom, then don't look like you're cheating, man.
Literally.
Don't be staying at random guys' houses.
We all know.
I got home a little bit before 9 p.m. and she's asleep in our room with 2 of our kids. So we do have a second update. Shall we just jump right into it?
Yeah.
Let's do it. I was uneasy last night, so we had a late night discussion. She went through everything that they did that evening. She said that they went to a bar with a younger crowd, and at that point her friend wanted to meet up with the guy that she, my wife's friend, had a crush on at another bar. My wife said there that she didn't have a drink and was talking to an older gentleman, like in his 80s, and he was talking about his grandkids. She said her friend was going to Uber with the other 2 guys that she, my wife's friend, supposedly knew to the barn and house where a married couple lives. This seems like an odd thing and doesn't really add up to me. My wife can be a yes person and said because she was sober that she offered to drive them out there to make sure her friend was okay. She said they sat around, talked for a bit, and then she asked the owner of the house, the married woman, if she could lay down for a bit. And that's what led her to the trailer.
I don't buy that.
On to me.
I'm sorry. I don't buy that a person who was supposed to go pick up their kids was like, yeah, I'm just going to take a nap. Like,
yeah, like I feel like
buy that.
Even if you're, because if she's going from a point of being like, hey, friend, like, I worry about you driving out to a barn with some people that you kind of know, like, I don't know, like if she knew them enough to like go to their barn at all, then she would probably be safe alone.
Yeah.
But if she didn't know them that well and still wanted to like go out there, then she probably shouldn't go at all,
Exactly.
So like the OP's wife should just be like, hey, my kids are literally like at your place. Like I gotta go pick up my kids.
Yeah.
I gotta be responsible of them over you because you're an adult.
Exactly. No, that's exactly what I would say. Like, hey, I'll call you an Uber. I'll get you home. I gotta go pick up my kids.
Yeah.
Or you can come with me. Go pick up my kids.
Right.
But we're either way, I'm leaving to go pick up my kids.
Exactly. So be safe. Make good choices. She said that she wasn't planning on staying long, but long enough to drive home. To be frank, she does have narcolepsy, and when she needs a nap, she literally cannot stay awake. I told her that she should have thrown them in an Uber and paid for it. She was more apologetic and assured me that I wasn't crazy for showing up or being upset by her behavior and decision making. I still plan on talking to her friend to see if she'll give me the same details to make sure that it adds up. That night when I confronted her, she assured me that nothing happened as well, and she did seem somewhat sincere about that. As for our relationship, those that have done some research are aware of our passed away bedroom situation, which has gone on for a few years to say the least. We have been married for 18 and a half years, and she has literally never done something close to this. And she is not a regular drinker or adult soda drinker at all. Because of some of her health issues, she usually doesn't go without me or someone who knows some of the issues she could have, and she can't drive very far on her own. We do have an update number 3. I grabbed her iPad out of the car around 4 a.m. because I couldn't sleep and went looking. I read through all current messages and now recovering all the deleted ones. That was a 1-sentence update. 2-sentence.
Opie's like, 4 a.m. I looked through her iPad.
Yeah.
Update, 4:03 a.m. I ran to the store to see if she was there.
Exactly.
4:10 a.m.
Okay.
I went home.
All right. Update number 4. I read through all of her texts with her friend and obviously every other message. Nothing concerning or no major gaps in the timeline. Not a lot of messages during that time since they were together, and I did recover 216 deleted messages from her friend, but it did not change anything in what I read prior to recovery. That's a whole lot of texts, man. I feel like after the first 100, you should let it go.
Well, I think that you either let it go or you say, hey, we need to talk. I don't trust you. And we need therapy or to split up because this isn't working.
Yeah. There's quite a bit of dialogue over the next 2 days about asking if we had talked and how things are going. I did find out about a concert that they are planning on going to, which will not happen if we're together. I'm guessing this is the wife and the sister, or the friend. The friend mentions that I need a day or two, and my wife says that she feels horrible because she didn't communicate with me. There's a 3-hour gap, but they had to take their dog of 15 years to the vet to be put down, which they mentioned before they met Saturday and almost canceled. Who's they? Whose dog is this?
Whose dog is this?
At first I thought this was like with the wife and the friend, but why do they have a 15-year-old dog together? My wife mentions that she is the only one that should have been concerned about her marriage. The friend says that she wishes that she had a body cam to show me nothing happened. The conversation ends yesterday late afternoon, and she works during the day. I also found out that my wife invited her to the brewery for the fundraiser/concert. I did not know that. I also went through and recovered all her other messages back to September 2023 to read through those, including family, and there are no suspicious texts.
Dude.
Yeah, you're in deep.
Dude, this is just like so far gone. You've breached trust so much.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
that's whether you find it or not, your trust is gone.
Yeah, because honestly, it's like I would believe her that she didn't do anything with these guys.
Yeah. I mean, like, did she break your trust by not going and picking up the kids? Yeah, that's a different problem.
Exactly. Like, the story was weird, and that was still a problem.
Yeah.
But, I kind of believe what happened, you know?
Same.
Not saying that it's okay because of the
fact
kids.
That she said, yeah, I could have done it.
Yeah, that was
weird.
Definitely weird. That is.
But these are all different problems in your relationship, and you're looking for one.
Yeah.
But you already have a bunch. You got enough.
You've got some. Don't worry. I told her this morning that it was me or her friend. What? She said that she wasn't going to not be her friend because our kids are friends and she doesn't have a lot of friends here, which is true. But I said, I don't care. No way, me or her. This escalated very fast. She had to think about it, so I said, I'm done. Then she came back and said, maybe we need some boundaries. I agreed. And we are going to talk in person this afternoon. The kids had practice this morning and I'm in the office, not working, clearly. And you could skip work to go to Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is, and search OK Storytime, because you're going to find full episodes with more stories just like this one.
Yeah.
Just spend all your days, all your 65 days in a row, 24 hours a day. That's how much stuff we've got. But there is a little bit more to the story, but that is a big old development. Me or your friend? Because what? Because I went with my friend to this thing.
It's just OP. I mean, OP has gone so far down the rabbit hole of trying to find the one thing that proves she cheated.
Yeah.
And now he's like, you can only be friends with who I allow you to be friends. Like, you've gone too far.
Yeah.
If you cannot trust her, then you have to leave. You can't control her so that you can trust her more. Like, that doesn't work.
Exactly. But there is a little bit more to the story. Update number 5. I'm done. We've been going back and forth about our relationship, and I told her that she's the only one I've ever wanted and that she needs to tell me if she wants me. Beyond this weekend in our passed away bedroom, if she not just loves me, but wants to be married to me. She said that she wouldn't throw it all away for one night. And aside from that, I don't want another man. I said, okay, but do you want to be married to me? She said, of course I want to be married.
Ooh.
I said, but married to me. She said, what the F? Who else would I be talking about? I told her that I'm talking to a divorce attorney tomorrow morning. She said, fine, do it. Some of you are right. She gave up on me a long time ago.
Dude, I think you gave up on her too. I think you both gave up on this relationship.
Yeah, this feels so weird. I'm guessing there was like a lot more in their relationship that was probably causing problems.
Must be.
Because it kind of felt like at the beginning, I mean, maybe I just assumed that like the relationship was perfect and then this happened, you know?
Yeah.
But if this happened and then it's like jump starting all of these other like big moves, like divorce and like reviving 216 deleted messages, like it feels like there's a lot more going on that we just don't really know all the dirty details of.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but dang. I caught my wife flirting after she fell asleep with her phone open.
Ooh, you got proof on there.
My wife, 30 female, and I, 35 male, have had a 100% trusting relationship. We both have access to each other's phones, laptops, pretty much everything, because we never had anything to hide. By the way, this comes from Elephant Sharp, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, I never went searching through any of her stuff and never had any desire to. I'm pretty sure she's never searched through mine, but if she had, there's nothing to find anyway. We've been together 8 years, married for 4, and I just want to reiterate, trust and loyalty are basically our foundation, and she has said a few times that if I ever cheat on her, we're over. Fine, not gonna happen anyway. Every other week, I work 4 p.m. to midnight, and by the time I wrap up and get home, it's usually close to 1 a.m. My wife has a number of coworkers she sometimes goes out with after work, and I've met most of them. I'm glad that she can get out and have some fun when I can't be there, knowing that she's not cooped up in the house. We have no kids. She also went out a few times with a male coworker. We'll call him Kyle. He's 34, I think, also married. I was fine with it, and they both worked for a while in a department that was basically a sinking ship and liked to chat about it or whatever. She was always honest with telling me who she was with. And like I said, I completely trusted her. Yeah. I know you get it already.
Like, I completely trusted her.
Trusted her, guys. Last night, I got home from work at my usual 1 a.m. My wife was asleep with her phone in her hand with the screen on. She had fallen asleep in the middle of a text message to Kyle that said, I could fall asleep listening to your voice. Whoa. I guess she actually did that and fell asleep pressing the I key.
Stop. No, she didn't. No, she didn't. No, she didn't. Come on. Be real. Be for real.
I was a little stunned by this and slipped the phone out of her hand to get a little context. Apparently, they had discovered the temporary voice message mode and were toying around with it. I didn't listen to any of them, but a text message in there said, yeah, and it's nice because these messages delete themselves. That was extremely concerning. So I scrolled up a bit and mixed in with talk about actual work. There were quite a few flirty messages in there coming from both directions.
Tisk, tisk, tisk.
I only looked for about 30 seconds, but I didn't see anything spicy related. Could be there though, who knows? Naturally, I woke up my wife and she didn't even try denying it, as I clearly had seen it. I did give her phone back before looking at any more. She apologized and said that she's an idiot, and that obviously nothing happened. She said she stopped him a couple of times when he was starting to go too far, but if he had the inclination to go too far, then why would she not shut it down completely? And why was she flirting back? Very good questions.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't have very good answers, just said that she was being stupid and was lonely since I work nights and we barely see each other some weeks. Little bit of context, this event has some unique timing. Today is a huge day at her job. She's been looking forward to / dreading today for months. Lots of things are changing and she's in charge of a lot of it. I genuinely don't want this issue to affect her work, but it already has given that neither of us got a second of sleep last night after I woke her up. Last night I requested to see the entire conversation. For one, because my imagination is running away with this a bit, and I'd like to know if it's worse or not as bad as I'm thinking. If it's just a little flirty, I'm still pretty upset, but I think we can work past it. At first, she flat out refused, and I said the logic flows that if she's not sharing the conversation with me, then whatever she's hiding is worse than the fact that she is actually hiding something from me. I told her that if she's not open with this conversation, then I can't begin to build trust back, which is true. She seemed to be actually considering it this morning and getting ready for work, but said that she can't think about this right now. She has to be completely focused on work today. I conceded to that because, like I said, we've been anticipating this day for months, but I'm expecting to see it this evening. Like I said, I never expected to be in this situation, and I don't even know how to act. What's the correct degree of response to this? Treat it as relatively harmless flirting and work through it? Elevate to possible therapy or separation? I just don't know. I'm just hurt and confused, and we do have an update, but what do we think OP should do?
Well, first of all, flirting isn't harmless.
True.
It's, a level of emotional cheating.
Yeah.
When you're in a relationship. I do think it is something that you can work past if both parties are willing to, work on what led to that point. Why did that person do that? Is there anything we can change in the marriage to prevent that?
Yeah.
We need to have conversations about trust. We need to go to therapy maybe. So I don't want OP to think, oh, this is harmless, so I don't need to address it in as a serious thing, but it is serious.
Right.
But I don't think it's over the relationship. I mean, I don't think this is like a divorce, separate, etc.
Yeah, definitely not yet.
Or
Not at
break
least
up,
until like, he looks at the conversation and like they talk about it and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. But we do have an update. So I think most of you will be disappointed in my actions.
Uh-oh.
A lot of you seem to be out for blood and assuming the worst, calling for me to leave her immediately.
Oh boy, Reddit.
Leave it up to the internet though.
Okay, but I'm glad that OP didn't do what they wanted.
Yeah, me too. Well, I knew that wasn't going to happen from the start. I actually can't imagine my life without her, and it's far worse than life with her, even with this incident contaminating our relationship. I will not be seeking divorce, and we are pursuing marriage counseling. So the deets. She came home, and we went for a walk. She agreed to give me her phone, but wanted to explain first. I asked her if she had cut contact with him, and she said yes. She had gone to his office and told him that the flirting had gone too far, and that I had seen some of the conversation, and that she had to prioritize me over everything. I was really only half listening because I didn't want to form opinions based on her words without having hard evidence first. She talked about how they just have a fun time chatting with each other, and they have a lot in common. Kyle and his wife apparently have 2 cats that are the same type as our 2 cats, and they had a lot of fun comparing their personalities and similarities. Whatever. The friendliness and flirtiness grew slowly over time. She said that a while ago he had expressed feelings for her, and she shut him down and said that that would never happen. Meanwhile, he is also in a marriage. Keep that in mind.
Yikes.
They didn't talk for a few days, but eventually, through work, started chatting again, and the flirtiness popped right back up. She said over the past couple of weeks, she was starting to question how much they talked, and that she talked to him more than anyone else, and it was starting to feel weird. But I guess those thoughts hadn't fully formed into a decision to knock it off because obviously it was still ongoing as of 2 nights ago. She finally gave me her phone, and lo and behold, only the messages from the past day were available. Shocker. She expressed confusion and said that that made her feel like an idiot and that the messages weren't loading correctly. It's an iPhone, so I went to the edit, retrieved deleted messages, and there were about 2,400 sitting there.
Uh-oh.
I tried to retrieve them, but I guess it was so many that they still weren't loading. I asked for her iPad, which was back at the house, except when we got back there, it turns out that she left it at her office. She offered to go get it, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm coming with you every step of the way. On the drive there, she states that when he confessed his feelings for her, he had actually tried to kiss her on the way out of the bar. She basically hit him and left right then. At this point, I told her that she should have told me that immediately. She, of course, agreed and said that she didn't know why she didn't.
We know why she didn't.
I think we know why she didn't.
We know why she didn't.
We retrieved the iPad and the entire conversation is there. I don't think she would have thought to go back and delete extra incriminating ones twice when she thought that they were all gone already, so I saw it all. And I read it all 2,400 messages. Obviously, it started out purely work-related. Then it started getting friendlier, talking about their cats, how him and his wife have very similar names to us. Actually, him and I have the same name. Infuriating enough. It's not actually Kyle, and I don't want you to think of me like a Kyle. No offense to all the Kyles out there. How they like similar shows and whatnot. The more I read until the very end, the more it truly seemed like the scenario where a frog is put into a pot of water that slowly increases in temperature and doesn't realize it was boiling. There's absolutely nothing spicy related, and from her talk before I saw it, it did seem like she was starting to realize that the water was too hot. And by the way, I hope you can start to realize that we have more full episodes of stories just like this one on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Storytime.
Do it.
You're going to find all the stories there.
Do it.
They've got 2,400 text messages. We've got 2,500 episodes or hours of episodes or something.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
Something like that.
Something like that.
So get to work, OP.
Come on.
And everyone else watching.
Oh, man. But there is a little bit to the story, but
Ooh-wee.
That really does suck to see.
Yeah.
Like maybe you
It's
can
rough.
understand it a little bit, but also that just is like.
I mean, I still don't think this is, you have to divorce.
Yeah.
But very much therapy. Very much.
Yeah,
therapy.
definitely. I think like, you know, to give her some credit, I like that she's not trying to hide it because that's a lot that we've seen.
Mhm.
Obviously, you know, doesn't excuse it, but that just shows that it's possible to work on things.
Yeah, I'm hopeful. But
I'm hopeful too.
yeah, she would have to be like just continue to be extremely upfront with everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There is a little bit more though. There were a few messages from her that made my heart clench, and I read those aloud to her, and I could just see the shame and anguish on her face. Obviously, the point that causes me the most consternation is when he tried to kiss her. She didn't tell me, then eventually started chatting with him again. I am extremely mad at her. Given that, I think 90% of the emotions I'm feeling are just sadness. I feel like I'm in mourning for the relationship we had for 8 years that ended on July 1st, 2025. Wow, this like just happened.
Yeah.
This is like currently,
ouch.
OP is out there right now.
Yikes. Oh man.
Currently
OP,
having this problem.
Yeah.
Dang.
I mean, you have to ask your question yourself once you go to therapy. Can I trust her again? And if the answer is no, then, that's it.
Yeah. As I mentioned, we're reaching out to marriage counselors. I can't wait to go because I want to forgive her and I literally don't know how. And that is the end of that story.
You might not forgive her, OP, but you also might forgive her. You can't know.
Yeah.
And either of those answers is okay.
I think all of that stuff would definitely be good to talk about, like feeling like your relationship is over at that point.
Yeah.
Because, like, how do you feel like you are in a relationship again if this makes you feel like it was over, So hopefully you guys can figure that out in therapy. I really hope that it can be saved. It does feel like at least she's remorseful for this mistake.
Hopefully.
Like obviously it's still a mistake. She shouldn't have done it. And I don't want to seem like I'm excusing her for that. We just see a lot of stories where they aren't remorseful and they're just like making excuses and gaslighting and stuff. So out of all of those, this one gives me a hope.
Yeah.
But definitely will need some time.
Yeah. My parents gave my sister a huge wedding gift, but completely ignored mine.
Well, that's just not fair, is it?
I'm the eldest of 3, female 28, female 22, and male 20. My siblings have had an entirely different childhood than mine. I was dubbed the problem child and frequently butted heads with my mom mostly. I left home at 17 and never looked back. My parents kept my siblings from me out of spite and because they didn't want me corrupting them. By the way, this comes from Fighting Darwin, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, for the record, I was not a bad kid by any stretch of the imagination. I just had very physically and emotionally harmful parents. My sister and I have begun to become close since she hit about 16 or 17 and had a little more freedom. My sister recently had an unplanned baby 9 months ago and is getting married next month, which I am not exactly supportive of because she and her fiance have many problems they think marriage will magically fix, and a baby.
Of course.
Which the baby didn't fix, but was supposed to. Whatever, it's not my life, though I have voiced my concerns to her and was waved off. Fine, her life, not my business. My husband and I got married 2.5 years ago and have been together for 11 years. My parents argued with me about the entire thing, made me cry many times, and were awkward and embarrassing at the actual wedding. They never once congratulated us and couldn't even be bothered to give us a card. Subsequent visits with the parents had my dad mention something about a wedding present soon. But there was never any follow through, and I never asked because they'd flaked on me a lot before. I've mentioned to my sister that their actions hurt me, and she was sympathetic. Yesterday, we were discussing wedding plans, and she told me that mom and dad had gifted them an early present in the form of a check for $10K. I'm very hurt and I wish she hadn't told me. I haven't mentioned it to my husband yet because frankly, as much as I know they and are unfair, it makes me feel really broken that I can't even have a normal, loving family like he does. And I know he hates it when my parents make me feel unloved and less than. I am very low contact with my parents anyway, but I can feel the urge to withdraw even from my sister, even though she has done nothing wrong. It's not about the money, but the finally undisputed evidence that they don't care for me at all. That really hurts. And I don't know how to deal with those feelings or how to stay friendly with my sister right now without ruining this for her. That's tricky. I mean, it's not your sister's fault.
Mm-hmm.
But I think
it's a problem with you and your parents.
Yeah, it's you and your parents.
Yeah.
And you can potentially, if you're close with your sister, you could be like, yeah, I'm a little upset. Like, this is not at all your fault.
Right.
You know, I'm a little upset because mom and dad, like, didn't give me anything. And it's not anything to do with you.
Yeah.
I just don't know how to approach that conversation with them. And I feel like our relationship is really complicated. So just approaching it from like our relationship with my mom and dad, not your relationship with your sibling.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Common one. I think this is a sign for you to go no contact with your parents. They only bring you sadness. Stay in contact with your sister. Tell her you don't want anything to do with your parents. OP says, yes, I think this is the way to go. I will wait until after the wedding as I don't want my sister to feel badly or to stress herself out even more. I know she feels bad because she kind of blurted it out with a forewarning to not be offended. Reply, yes, your parents, but your sister's too. If she had to say, don't get offended, before telling you something, she knew she was going to hurt your feelings and didn't really care. She knows your situation. She knows how you would feel. She knows how they treat you. Why would she even bring it up? Is this information relevant to you or benefit you in any way? I'm sorry, OP, but if I were you, I would reevaluate my relationship with her. Comment 2 says you're over 5 years older than your sister, so maybe your parents are in a different financial situation than when you got married? Or maybe they felt like she needed it to have a wedding? I bring the age up because a similar thing happened in my family and caused problems. The reason was because my parents were more well off financially for the younger sibling. Opie says that is a fair point, but nothing has changed in their financial situation in the last 2 years. Same job, same house, no financial windfalls. Sister and fiance have a lot of debt and spending about twice what we did for our wedding, so that could be part of it. And there is an update. Any thoughts before we jump in?
I mean, that is a good, question about the parents' financial situation, but I still wouldn't blame the sister.
No.
I still, I wouldn't be mad at her for being like, I know this is going to upset you, but I'm going to talk to you anyway.
I mean, it depends on how the sister approached it, but
Sure.
I think it is important for OP to know it's relevant information.
Yeah,
it's our parents are kind of playing favorites.
Right, maybe the sister is aware of that and be like, hey, don't get offended, but they gave me this money. You know what I mean? It's well, I am, but not by you.
Yeah.
I feel like they can band together.
A
sisterhood.
Split the 10K.
Yeah, well, you could do that, or you could come to the parents and be like,
That's
yo,
true.
I got married. Where's my money?
Where's my money?
Where's my money, man?
Update. I appreciated all the responses on my previous post. There were some very helpful and eye-opening points made by many kind people. I've gone fully no contact with my parents now and have asked both my sister and brother to not be passing along information about mine and my husband's lives, which they both agreed to. The wedding reception was a bit of a disaster, but my sister says she had a great time, and I guess that's all that's important. The bridal party were all great people and had been forewarned about the parental shenanigans that were sure to ensue, and so we're ready to head off anything that mom might have pulled to ruin things. We got in the day before and headed to the rehearsal, which was supposed to be just the wedding party and wedding planners, but my mom decided to crash that with her friends in tow. I pretty much ignored her the entire evening and did my best to help my sister, who was stressing out because mom was throwing a fit about the seating arrangement and how things didn't look like how she envisioned it, etc., etc. Day of the wedding went smoothly through the ceremony. Then a snag with the photos because sister didn't take group photos of my mom and her friends, who she kept calling our family, despite knowing them all for maybe 3 years. Mom then cornered the photographer and made him take photos of her and her girls in various poses. Sister was just like, whatever, since she already got the pictures she wanted. Dinner happened, then speeches, where my parents both caught up and made a speech about how excited to finally have a son-in-law that aligned with their views, blah, blah.
What views?
When OP already is married to someone, so. Overall, much less embarrassing than the one they had at our wedding, where they mentioned things like dowries and implying that I was their property to hand over. Never mind the fact that they had nothing to do with me as an adult. The reception was going well until my sister, who had wasted about 3 times more than she had eaten the whole day, tripped on her dress and face planted, giving herself a mild concussion and a fractured cheekbone? Oh my gosh. Being medically trained, I looked her over and went to get an ice pack / cold water and had sat her in a quiet corner to settle her nerves. By the time I got back, mom was full on screaming at my sister about how wasted she was, how she was embarrassing, how she was a bad mother because my niece had been handed around throughout the night to relatives who wanted to have some baby snuggles. And where was my niece anyway? How could she not be attending to the baby? Blah, blah. It's her wedding. Jesus.
Girl.
Niece was sleeping in her stroller and being checked on by myself, my husband, and the wedding planners in the venue's kitchen. At this point, I was interjecting and trying to tell my mom to back off, that the baby was fine, and my sister needed to rest. And mom decided to jump down my throat and scream at me for something. I didn't really need to listen to her. When I told her she needed to get out of my face right now and walk away, she kept getting up in my space and screaming more.
Whoa. You can't be doing that.
Get out of my face. Get out of my face.
Get out of my face.
Then when I tried to walk away, she started attacking me, scratching my arms and attempting to slap me. She's like,
what? This is the mom?
Yeah. I was a little dazed, and my husband had noticed and come over quickly and separated her and told her to go. Dad just stood by and watched this all, then had the audacity to tell my husband not to get involved and then bring up a phone call from 4 years ago.
What?
When my husband had called them after my mom made me cry about wedding plans and told them nicely to go F themselves.
What?
We just walked away from him and went to sit at our table, and my husband tried to console me. The other bridesmaids, groomsmen, and groom were checking on my sister. We watched his mom gathered her posse and my poor grandmother and left the reception fuming. Other guests also began to trickle out at this point, and soon it was just the wedding party and planners left at the reception. This is a crazy wedding.
This really is. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I know. I mean, this is your sister's wedding. But
Yeah. Well, yes.
For
the sister.
Since then, I've not breathed a word to my parents. My sister and brother have both been asked not to divulge anything about me to them, as has my grandmother, whom I speak to frequently, and all are agreeable and understand. That's good. You've got a support system still.
Yeah, that's good.
My sister has been in regular contact with them, I guess, and according to her, my parents expect an apology from me for embarrassing them in front of all their friends.
What?
I'm sure them screaming at your sister wasn't embarrassing at all.
Yeah. Why are the friends more important than their blood?
They don't care. The thing is, like, yeah, they gave your sister $10K,
Yeah.
but they care about your sister as much as they care about you. It just looks different because it's showing up in a different way.
I wonder if she's had these friends for 3 years
Yeah.
and OP got married 5 years ago. Well, I actually don't know if it was 5 years ago. That's just their age difference. But I wonder if they weren't friends back then.
Yeah.
And now that she is friends with them, she's like, oh, I have to like look good in front of my friends.
Exactly.
And make this generous donation.
I'm not sure what mental gymnastics they did to arrive at that point, but what can you do? But you don't have to do any sort of mental gymnastics to listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search a Poke Storytime. There is a wee bit left to this story. Any final thoughts?
This feels like those like slapstick comedy sitcoms, you know, where it's like people are falling over, people start yelling, and then it's like, this was supposed to be my wedding day.
Yeah,
Like,
she's just trying to get married, man.
yeah, just let her be.
Yeah. Josh in the chat says, why is the sister still in contact with the parents? The only way that I can explain this is going to sound silly, but there's this show called She-Ra.
Okay.
And you have this character, Shadow Weaver, who is kind of this evil character. And Adora and Catra are the main people.
Yeah.
Adora is this golden child. And
Yes.
Shadow Weaver's always like, oh, Adora, like, you're amazing. You're going to be the force of, you know, for the horde. And then Catra is this like person who can do no right in Shadow Weaver's eyes. And so the whole thing is that you find out while she is upholding like Adora as this perfect person, Adora is like cracking under the pressure of having to be perfect in her eyes and is still being like in a way.
Yeah.
Even though to
She's being,
Catra,
like, used
it's like,
and
oh my God, they love you. Or she loves you.
Yeah.
And so to put this in this world, your sister, yes, is getting $10,000, but still has to be this perfect child, like is still affected.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's my thought. Unfortunately, their pettiness is causing tension with regards to family occasions. My niece will be one soon, and with Christmas coming, my sister said mom told her that she would not be in any room or occasion in which I am present and refuses to even be cordial. She told my sister that the next time she sees me, she will make sure I know exactly what I did to her. Because of that and not wanting to ruin my niece's first birthday, and because I know my sister is stressed about this, I won't be attending the baby's first birthday, but I will see her the weekend before so I can give her present and spend time with her. This does make me sad as I love my niece and want to be there, but I don't want her memories to be of bad times between auntie and grandma. And that is the end of that story.
My wife was living a double life our whole marriage.
She's got the best of both worlds.
You might find my story hard to believe because it's too crazy to be believable. Too many things happen to put all in one post, but I will do my best. My now ex-wife and I were married for 16 years.
Dang.
That's a while. We had rough patches in our marriage, but we always made it work. We had many happy years too. By the way, this comes from Eastern European SD. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So about 2 years ago was when the big drama started. We had what seemed like a small rough patch again. Nothing big, just a regular family disagreement and family business decisions that we were trying to resolve. But I felt in my gut that there was something else behind our fights. Normally in our marriage, he was always the smarter one who made the first step towards peace. That trait kept hers and our family together. Well, my ego was always too big to make the first step. Okay. I mean, hey, at least he's admitting it. That was good. Okay. But this time was different. She showed no sign of backing off. She stopped trying to solve our disagreements and started staying late at what I thought was her friend's house.
Oh, okay. So now they've had a disagreement in their marriage, and usually he's just like, oh, well, she always solves it. She's always the calm, collected one. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, this time she wasn't. Yeah. I wasn't going to do it.
I'm not going to pick up that slack.
Not me.
Do you see an ICU about what her friend's house is?
Yeah.
When I realized things were getting worse, I stepped over my ego and tried to apologize. To my surprise, she didn't respond to my efforts to make things better.
OP's like, I actually did it this time.
I did something.
She didn't like it. I tried really hard this time.
I tried once in our 16 years of marriage.
And I waited until it got really bad, but I did it. Why isn't she happy?
Well, I started to suspect infidelity, but had no proof. When my jealousy punted in, I even started spying on her for a couple of days. But then I decided that wasn't the right thing to do and let things resolve naturally, and that would be more honorable. So I started doubting my suspicions and thought I was just being paranoid. So Opie's kind of back to baseline. Shortly later, he texted me a question about our family business disagreement. When I texted back with business decisions she didn't agree with, she replied with an ultimatum. And we know that an ultimatum is the start of a blossoming relationship, right?
Always.
Ultimatums and relationships go like cookies and cream. They go like war and politics.
War and peace.
It basically said that either it had to be her way or we needed to end everything and divorce. So she's put an ultimatum right in there. What I know now, 2 years later, made me realize that this argument was only an excuse to initiate divorce. She didn't have the guts to tell me the true reasons. I didn't give in because the disagreement seemed too small to go separate ways over. I thought she was bluffing and being childish. So I bluffed back and agreed to divorce. Wait.
Opie's like, I thought she was bluffing about the divorce, so I said, yeah, I'll divorce you. Opie's consistently shown that he is not going to be the first one to apologize ever.
I don't think anyone deserves to be cheated on.
No, not at all.
To be clear. But I don't think Opie's doing a great job of making himself not a person that someone would want to cheat on.
Well, the point, it's okay. I don't think that's it. There's no reason for anyone to be cheated on.
That's what I said.
But I think the problem here is that he's just bad at relationships.
Yeah.
What Sam's saying is he's not being very defensible to getting cheated on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if there was a person that, like, there are ways to be better at not being cheated on, and one of them is being good at relationships.
This is no.
All right, yeah, Sophia's shutting it down.
No.
Smart.
No.
Smart. But OP, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I thought giving in would show weakness and make things worse.
So who is this? He's like, anytime I apologize, it's weak.
This was how I was raised. I believe the man should be the breadwinner, and the woman should put family first and nurture love and peace in the home.
Yikes.
Once the divorce train started rolling, ambitions took over, and there was no resolution in sight.
Dude, I can tell why your relationship didn't work out.
We lived for the first year while a divorce was finalized, then lived another year separately and officially divorced. Since I didn't know the true reasons for divorce, I convinced myself that family business was the real reason, even though the disagreement wasn't big enough to justify divorce. I started feeling guilty as if I had chosen my business over my family. The divorce court let me keep the business since I was more capable of running it, and to compensate for my guilt, I chose a very generous financial settlement for my wife. I willingly paid 4 times the amount of spousal support and child alimony required by local law.
What?
Hey, defense. This is all about defense.
Oh, he's like, no, you don't understand. I'm winning.
I'm going to give her so much money.
I'm going to give her so much money, she won't even know what to do with it.
I wasn't a wealthy businessman, but the amount I decided to pay allowed her to live comfortably, stay in the same house, and keep our daughter in the same school, even though it meant I had to work more and struggle financially. I don't know if you had to do that, OP. Even though our divorce started with drama and anger, a few months into the separation, my wife started showing signs of regrets. Her temper gradually cooled down, and she actually started being nice to me. A week before the final divorce court date, she even jokingly hinted that we could skip it and save the lawyer's fee. So maybe finally OP's bluff is working. You know, OP, he just have to wait a while. Yeah, he's playing the long game.
Well.
Look who decided to show up to divorce court. Yeah, crawling back, trying to get out of divorce. I don't think so. I'm going to bluff even harder. I thought things had gone too far and that finalizing the divorce was the only right thing to do. We got officially divorced and stayed separated for another year. Her signs of regret only grew stronger. She started inviting me to dinner for our daughter's sake. I always turned down her advances.
I'm not gonna let her win.
Fast forward to recent days. Okay, we're getting caught up to the present. One evening, I got a text from her asking if it would be okay for her to come over with her girlfriend to have drinks.
Friend that's a girl.
I don't know.
I think it's friend that's a girl.
Maybe it's an actual girlfriend.
Could be.
I was feeling very down that day, and to my own surprise, I agreed. After a night of drinks and conversation, my ex-wife's girlfriend started talking to me while my ex was in the bathroom. She told me how my ex missed me, how she thought and talked about me all the time, how much she cried about me, etc. Long story short, my ex and I ended up sleeping together that night at my place. Okay, so they're canoodling.
Okay.
The next day, all the it wasn't supposed to happen drama started. She said she needed to think about what happened. I felt that I missed her a lot and I wanted to forget the 2 years of separation and start fresh. I thought this long separation had been good for both of us, allowing us to realize how much we loved each other and reflect on our mistakes. But the next day came the shocker.
Uh-oh.
Put the ICU in the chat if you know what the shocker is.
Ruh-roh.
She called and said we needed to talk. When we met, she revealed that she had been living with a man under the same roof for close to 2 years.
Okay, so the whole time of the separation.
Yes, the whole time of the separation.
Is there any crossover?
She had been pregnant with him a year ago, but lost the baby in the early stages. She told me she never loved him and was always dreaming about getting back together with me. According to her, this guy was extremely nice in the beginning and got her attention by overwhelming her with attention and gifts. Shortly after, he became very controlling and emotionally harmful. I understand that my story is hard to believe.
Not really.
How could I not know? The thing is, our family consists of immigrants from Europe, and we don't have any family members here who could have told me. Family friends weren't there to inform me either, because as happens in divorce, you don't only lose your spouse, you lose your friends too. One lesson I learned from this experience, family is important, but you have to build your own friendships too. Not just family friends, but friends of your own who will be there to support you no matter what. Being in a state of shock, but moved by her honesty, I accepted her story. I think this isn't the end of the story.
I think she's lying.
I think 2 years. I think 2 years is the tip of the iceberg.
Dude, I think she's lying, and I think OP sees this as, well, I finally won. She came crawling back, and now she'll do whatever I say.
So are you seeing a little bit, my cat's name is Karen, says narcissist. Are you seeing a little bit of narcissism in OP?
I think so. I think that he can't even fathom that she's like lying to him. He's like, I'm outsmarting her at every turn.
I don't know if I see that as
what it feels
much.
like.
I feel like I see someone who is bad at relationships, bad at saying when they're wrong, which I don't think he's gotten better at that in the last 2 years.
He's gotten better at all.
I think she's also lying. Yeah, it doesn't mean she gets to cheat on him, but I also think she is lying. I think 2 years is the tip of the iceberg. Gather in, folks. I think it was for 14 years. I think it was for the entirety of the relationship that she had.
I think it was 3.
You think there was a little bit of an overlap? I want to say it's the whole thing. But let's see what actually is true. So I asked her to move to my place immediately to avoid further abuse because the guy that she is with.
She's still with him.
She's still with him. There's overlap. I know. It was so naive of me to make that decision on the spot, but I was overwhelmed with emotions and couldn't think clearly. The next day, I got another shocker. In a long conversation with her, I caught her in a lie. When confronted with her own story not making sense, she revealed that what she told me wasn't actually accurate. The truth was that this man didn't show up in her life after our separation. He appeared a month before we split.
Ooh.
Remember, that was the month that things with that business disagreement changed. When she suddenly didn't try to find common ground and instead stood her ground.
Yeah.
She had started cheating on me with him a month before we divorced. Now it all started making sense. The real reason behind her fighting about business and other things was her own infidelity. It was all an excuse to blame everything on me. Now she's begging for forgiveness, and I don't know how I'll be able to forgive her after so many lies. One thing I know for sure is that she loves me, but that doesn't make it easier to forgive. It's the opposite. How could she betray me in such a twisted manner? I blame myself for not showing her enough affection and attention, thinking that this was the trigger that caused her to drift away. I was too concentrated on supporting the family financially and forgot to nourish the emotional part of it. Here is my story. I spilled my guts here, and somehow it made things easier putting it all into words. Thanks for reading it all, and thanks for the advice you guys will send me. We got some comments. We got some updates. But what do you think? Is this relationship salvageable?
No, you guys have been separated for 2 years. You found out that she cheated on you right before you got separated. Let's stay separated. You didn't have a good marriage before. You certainly won't after.
Yeah. And I don't think he's gotten better at like admitting fault either. Like not saying that he is, I don't think he is completely to blame, but I don't think he is blameless in the marriage falling apart. Obviously, she is way more to blame for actually cheating, but I don't think he is ready for a relationship. I think he needs to learn to own up to when he makes poor decisions.
Yes.
And I think she needs to learn to not cheat.
Yeah.
Or, from the words of Samuel Donner,
Oh, God.
cheating makes relationships stronger. So they could come through this and actually be stronger. You guys are forgetting that part.
That came with a lot of baggage in that thing. What I said was,
it makes it stronger.
if someone cheats in a relationship and then they choose to stay together and actually work on things that cause that cheating, it can make a relationship stronger. But I don't think generally people should stay together through cheating, because it's very hard to trust someone after that and almost impossible to build back that trust.
Yeah, the thing is that OP already, was always trying to one up his ex-partner and using things like, oh yeah, it wasn't I'm winning, blah, 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 blah. And so now that he actually has something over her, he's never going to admit fault.
No. Yeah, I think Casey Roberts agrees with Sophia. Both of them are great at snatching defeat from the jaws of victory.
Mm-hmm.
Dang, poetic.
Nice.
But comment one, but whilst you were away being a man and providing for your family as a man should, she wasn't being a wife to you. She cheated on you with someone else. She tried to replace you because she thought she had found someone better. For 2+ years, she didn't care how much she hurt you. Imagine the nights you spent crying, wondering what you did wrong. She was in bed with that guy then. You speak about what you didn't do, and believe me, men are not perfect, but as long as you tried to put a roof above your kid's head and food on the table, you deserve praise. Don't listen to the spiel you have told yourself. You do not sound like a bad person. The fact that you gave 4 times alimony proves this. You didn't deserve this. I don't think OP's a bad person, but I think just because he's financially generous doesn't mean he was emotionally generous.
Yeah.
And I think there are many dimensions of a relationship, and he even admits like he was financially there for his family, but he was not emotionally there.
Agreed.
And I think that like to get to a place where you can have a better relationship, you're gonna need that emotional maturity.
For sure.
If you truly were horrible, she would have divorced you a long time ago and not cheated on you. Doesn't take 16 years to realize someone is horrible. The ruse of her friend coming over to yours is all BS, bro. She regrets shacking up with a new guy and realized what she lost. Do you think for one moment, if he was a decent, successful guy, she would be back talking to you? I know it hurts, bro, and I'm here for you, even as a stranger. But she didn't care for you and doesn't care for you. All it is grass isn't greener. She realized what she lost. But that doesn't mean this won't happen to you again. What happens the next time or the time after that? You have 2 paths. You can either try to resolve your issues and live with this for the rest of your life, constantly fearing she will cheat on you again, or you can move on with your life, start afresh. One thing I find is most people are so scared of being alone, they choose to be with anyone, even a manipulative cheater. You are better than that. You have already given her an unwarranted sum for the alimony, money she has undoubtedly spent on her new man. Please don't give her your dignity. Walk away, set an example for your kids. You need to find yourself, start a sport, get a hobby, open a business. The amount of time you have invested in her needs to be put elsewhere to more productive means. I know it's easy for me to say, but I'm giving you the perspective from the other side, the side you're not seeing. And that is where that story ends.
Dang.
Yeah. I mean, I think OP
has a lot to learn.
I think OP has a lot to learn. I don't think he's ready to jump back into this relationship.
No.
I think it would be a very bad idea. Sweet Memory says paycheck father/husband. Yeah. I mean, I think because a father/husband provides financially doesn't mean that they're giving everything that a relationship needs.
No. And he was like, yeah, and I did more than they asked. So I'm the best there ever was. And it's like, okay, you're providing financially, but clearly haven't done.
He did admit that he wasn't there for them in the a way that he should have been.
No,
emotionally.
exactly. And yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he hasn't provided the emotional support to anyone. And I think that while I absolutely agree, don't get back with your ex because she cheated on you and that's terrible for that. I think that you as an individual have a lot to learn about how to be there for your kids, how to be there for a future partner, and how to be there for yourself.
A to the men. A to the men. But I think that is where this story ends, but not this stream. We got another story right for you. My childhood friend refused to forgive my wife for what she did.
What did she do?
My wife, 32 female, and I, 34 male, have been married for 6 years, together for 10. We have a 4-year-old son. A few years ago, my close childhood friend, 34 female, got married. We've been extremely close since we were kids. Both our families were dysfunctional in different ways. And at one point, my dad cheated on my mom with her mom. And they got married. Divorced a year later. And we basically ended up being abandoned by both sides. What a sentence.
Dang. See, that's what that other guy thought was a crazy story. Like, this is the crazy story that other guy thought his story
this is
was.
crazy. Through all that, me and my childhood friend became close with each other. She even got 2 tattoos that relate to our bond. I would have gotten a tattoo too, but I'm sort of scared of needles. By the way, this comes from Haunting Lime 6836. If you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So my wife was actually close to my friend too and never showed signs of being insecure about our friendship until the postpartum hit. So this childhood friend is a lady and OP is a man.
Has 2 tattoos.
Has 2 tattoos.
That references their bond.
It's a little close.
Unreciprocated by OP. Afraid of needles.
Oh, that's true.
Like, they don't even have matching tattoos. She just has 2 tattoos
for him. Is that too close, chat? Is that too close?
I know a lot of friends who have matching tattoos.
Yeah, but having a one-sided tattoo for a friendship is...
What was the tattoo?
Yeah, I'm curious.
Like, is it obviously about him?
After our son was born, she really struggled. Her emotions were all over the place, and she became extremely insecure about my relationship with my friend. I was supposed to be man of honor at my friend's wedding, help plan things, and be a big part of the ceremony, but my wife was so anxious and uncomfortable, she begged me not to attend. It made me really sad, but I chose my wife. So I told my friend I couldn't go and told her why.
Okay. That's really not fair that your wife put you in that situation.
It isn't. So I think
it's good. I understand why OP ended up choosing his wife.
I understand that. I think it's not good that your wife put you in that situation.
Yeah.
Also, I don't think it's good that you said the reason that you couldn't go was your wife to your friend.
Yeah.
I think both of those are not great.
Yeah.
Not great. Oh man. This is
it's not good.
This is not good. So she was really hurt by it, not angry, just really sad, but said she understood. A couple months later, my wife fully recovered and apologized to both me and my friend, which is great. That's good.
Has the wedding already passed?
I forgave her. My friend, however, didn't. When my wife reached out to my friend to apologize, my friend was polite but direct. She said she never wanted to speak to her again. Didn't yell, make a scene, just drew a boundary.
I think that's fair.
I think that's fair.
I think it seems like the friend never did anything to incite suspicion, never seemingly made OP's wife
and
uncomfortable
her best
on purpose.
And her best friend in the whole world that she has 2 tattoos of.
But my question is, so did the wedding already happen?
I think the wedding already happened.
See, I would never forget. I would be like, you're coming to me now after the wedding already happened and my best friend didn't get to be my man of honor.
Yeah.
Like not just like
It would be
bridal
almost
party,
like
not at
if
the
I
wedding.
was banned from
Yeah.
going to your wedding by my
yeah,
partner.
I would never forgive that person.
Yeah.
I'd be like, that's the most important person at my, like, what are you talking about? You think I can just forgive you just because you came around?
I understand that, but I feel like if OP didn't say that was the reason, and maybe, I don't know, gave a different reason, maybe the relationship could have been
Probably.
salvaged. And so I think that was a big faux pas on OP's part.
Yeah.
Honestly, I get it. It was once in a lifetime day, and she leaned on me for years, and I bailed. I still feel guilty about it. My friend and I still talk regularly, nothing inappropriate. We're just close, always have been. And recently my wife asked if there was any chance my friend would forgive her. I told her the truth. No. That ship had sailed. My wife got sort of quiet and looked sad and hasn't brought it up again. But I wonder if I was too blunt. Am I the a-hole for not giving my wife hope and just telling her forgiveness probably isn't happening? There are some comments, and there's a lot more to this story. But I think OP is the a-hole for telling his friend that the reason that he couldn't go was his wife was jealous. You never
oh yeah, my friend's hungry.
Yeah.
You know, when your parents ask you like, oh,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
you're like, oh, they're hungry. They said they're hungry when you're actually hungry. You take it. You take the bread.
Yeah, or like if your partner if you're uncomfortable with a relationship that your partner has, and your partner's like, hey, I can't hang out with you anymore. My partner's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It makes the partner like look insecure and bad in that friend's eyes. And I think it also shows like, oh, I don't want to end this relationship. It's my partner making me do it, which also doesn't show a united front.
Yeah. It's like, oh, wow, that's crazy. Why are you with this person who makes all your decisions for you?
Yeah.
And then the second, so that happened. I agree with you.
And really quick, Gavin Monroe said, I'm not lying to my friend. Hot take here. I agree that like, you know, the, you know, about not lying to your friend, but Kim Roberts, as a reminder, sounds like OP, wait, where did it say? Sounds like, where'd it go? Oh, sorry. Lady Morgan says he shouldn't have told the friend that wife probably had PPD. No, she did have PPD.
She did have PPD.
We know that postpartum depression. And that was what was making her feel insecure. And I feel like OP totally threw his wife under the bus to the friend.
Yeah.
Like it's just kind of like she was insecure, but yeah, she had postpartum depression. Like give her a little bit of slack.
Yeah. I think that's the first point. And the second point is I agree that OP should tell the truth to his wife. I think that the wife needs to know, yeah, she made that decision. She had that reaction because she has PPD or she had PPD. She didn't want him to be around his friend. Or you mean
the friend needs to know?
No, I think the wife, I'm saying I agree with your first point. And now I'm looking at the second point of should OP have said, there's no hope for you to be forgiven.
Oh.
I'm talking about that. I think she needed to know the truth because there are consequences.
Yeah.
There's an explanation to why she reacted
that
way.
Just because you have PPD doesn't excuse the behavior.
There are consequences to any behavior, even if there are explanations for that behavior.
Yeah, I do think. I wonder if OP mentioned that she had PPD.
I think he could. You know, I think you could still attempt to help them reconcile.
It sounds like OP like.
But I think right now you have to tell your wife the truth because it sucks. But she made a choice. We know why she did it, but still it is gonna affect this relationship.
Yeah. I would love to know what you guys think. Let us know if you disagree with us in the comments. But we do have some comments on this. So it's Purple says, asking out of genuine curiosity, how is this going to work? Is your bestie going to skip all your life milestones and celebrations on your end? Or is it expected that she will be there and your wife is uncomfortable? Is it safe to assume your bestie isn't involved in your child's life? I'm just trying to fully understand the situation. And B. Dean says, great point. Info OP, we need to know what your expectations are and how you intend to manage this friendship going forward. And one who henpecks giant says, I have a feeling he'll be there for the friend and leave the wife at home. Ivy, that is Poison, says, to be honest, I think this is your fault. Sometimes friends can't make it to weddings no matter how close. But you definitely showed that this was your wife's fault.
This is what you said.
And not your family decision to support your wife during a hard time. Your friend didn't need to know that your wife was feeling jealous and insecure, and that's the reason you couldn't go. The reason you couldn't go was that you had to be there for your family. To be honest, you painted your wife as the bad guy. You and your wife should have figured out how to have you go, whether it be a friend, stay with her, or you take pictures or whatever as a compromise, but your friend shouldn't have been aware that this was your wife's fault. But you didn't seem afraid to throw your wife under the bus. But you chose your wife on the wedding day. This tells me you weren't a good partner. Sure, you didn't go to appease your wife, but communicating that to your friend isn't being a good husband. Being a grown-up means making hard decisions, not just choosing your wife and painting her as the bad guy when things don't go your way. Not the a-hole for what you're asking, but you're not a supportive partner or friend. Being a good friend would have been showing her how important family is. Her wedding, her new family is just as important as yours. A good friend would understand that and forgive, but because you painted your wife as the bad guy, now your friend does too. This is on you. Your wife even apologized because she knew in hindsight she was wrong. Your wife is more an adult than you and your friend. And Logical Customer 1786 says exactly this is why I vote you're the a-hole. He let his wife take the fall while also claiming that he chose her. He begrudgingly stayed home with her because she pleaded enough. If he had been taking her PPD seriously and acknowledging it as a medical condition that it is, he wouldn't have ever let the friend blame her. Sorry, my wife won't let me come to the wedding because she is recovering from a heart attack. What a witch, right? Doesn't have quite the same ring to it. It always should have been addressed as him making the choice. I'm so sorry my wife is having medical issues since the birth of her child and just cannot leave them at the time. I really hope you understand. And then send her a big fat wedding gift / chunk of cash as a gift and move on. If friend is a real friend, they would never presume to believe their wedding was more important than the medical needs of your family. Source, me, I've been a bride and a mom and have had PPD. I know I'd been nothing but understanding as a bride in the scenario above if the party member framed it as it should have been framed. Judgment, mainly you're the a-hole, and there is an update.
I think, yeah, I think I fully agree with those both points that we made.
Yeah.
I think it's, one, shouldn't have said it was her fault, and two, she does have to unfortunately now live with your decision to frame it as.
Nina Nilsson says, OP could have said, hey, best friend, my wife is sick and needs my help. If I can help without leaving her side, I will, but I can't have such a big part in your wedding.
Yeah, it could have been like, hey, I'll be at the wedding if your wife was okay with
Nina
that,
Nelson.
But can't be best man, or man of honor.
We have an update, so let's get into it. 5 days later. Whoa, I didn't expect the sheer gravity of responses I got. Reading through everyone's perspective really opened my eyes. A lot of you reminded me that my wife went through a really tough mental condition postpartum, and regardless of how much it hurt my friend, my wife doesn't deserve to be punished for it. So a couple of days ago, I had a long, honest talk with my friend. I told her that my wife and I are a package deal. And while I understood why she was so hurt and disappointed, my wife had already repented and apologized enough. I told her that if she truly valued our friendship, she needed to hash it out with my wife so we could all move forward. It was a really emotional conversation. My friend was very sad at first, and we talked a lot about the past and how things had changed. Eventually, though, she agreed. Later that day, she called my wife, apologized for holding the grudge, and accepted my wife's apology too.
Heck yeah.
That's
So
amazing.
he just needed to have a conversation. I thought he had already had a conversation.
Yeah, it sounds like he had a conversation with the whole internet first. And then it was like, oh, maybe I should talk to these people.
She's like, wait a minute, I need to talk to her.
My wife was honestly so relieved and happy. It felt like a huge weight was lifted. By the way, you want to lift a huge weight off of your life by having entertaining stories just like this. Go to full episodes, and where you can find them is Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app, and search OK Storytime. There's another relevant update, and I'm going to go straight into it.
Do it.
During my talk with my friend, she also said she really misses hanging out like we did before all this marriage drama. She said she would accept the apology, but she just wants to spend more one-on-one time with me again. I accepted that and told her I appreciate her honesty and assured her that I still value our friendship deeply. She seemed really happy about it. So yeah, that's probably my final update. My wife is happy. My friend has let go of the resentment, and I feel like I finally did right by both of them. Thank you all for your advice. It really helped me see what I needed to do. We got some final comments. Arc Fireheart says, okay, so from the previous point and post, it sounds like your wife was going through postpartum, dealing with a lot of insecurity and mental illness, and she needed you at her side. Meanwhile, there's this other woman that is not your wife that has tattoos related to your bond that is very close to you. Kind of impossible for her not to feel some type of way about it deep down. Regardless of all that, your wife was going through some really horrible times birthing your kid. Are men this incapable of realizing the toll childbirth takes on a woman's body? Because in the first post, You literally sounded like you blame your wife as well and resented her for needing to do your job as her partner. Still, she apologized to you and your friend, but your friend still held a grudge unnecessarily. Might I add, because when it came to your wife and none of it was done maliciously, you had to basically give your friend an ultimatum in order to accept your wife's apology. You do realize he wasn't going to take that apology if you didn't phrase it to her that she would lose you, right? And it's proven when, after all this, he still requested to have one-on-one time with you. Sir, you are a husband and a father. Like, are we reading the same thing? Where is the emotional maturity everyone's talking about with you? It literally took Reddit to push you to use your brain to realize as a married man and a father, you should put your wife and kid first. Your wife deserves better because what the heck is this? Just know. There's another comment, but what do we think about this? Like, do we feel like OP?
I think
like,
OP has effectively handled the situation now.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with the harshness of that comment. Like,
I think also he was really this comment was pointing out like, oh, well, your friend wouldn't have accepted if you hadn't made an ultimatum. It's like, okay, well, the friend doesn't have a relationship with his OP's wife.
Yeah.
Doesn't really care if she has to be friends with her OP's wife. She's doing it because she's friends with OP, and I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, and I also think like it is reasonable as a friend to want one-on-one time with that friend.
Yes. I don't think like it's suspicious just because she's a woman and he's a guy.
Yeah, and they're childhood friends.
Yeah.
They're childhood friends.
Like it is a different type of hangout when you have to hang out with two partners versus like one-on-one with your friends, you know?
I mean, I do think the tattoos are a little weird.
Admittedly,
that is a little weird. I don't know if it is a massive, red flag, but it's just a little weird to me. But also, I'm someone who exists in this world without tattoos. I think actually all of us in this room don't have any tattoos, so we're not very educated on this subject. For those tattoo baddies in the chat, let me know if this is tattoo to tatties. Tatooine. I feel like what I have seen is OP came to Reddit with a problem, and it seems like he took the internet's advice to heart and rectified the situation.
And fixed it. It seems like it's fixed.
Yeah, I think he was a piece of poop earlier, and I think so was the friend, but like I think also somewhat justified. And
I agree.
And I feel, and weren't they step siblings? Yeah, they were step siblings at a point.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
They were step siblings.
So even,
Step bro.
Yeah, and Sleepy Neeb says he married his wife, not his friend. I agree, but I really think like OP has grown in this whole thing. So
yeah.
But I would love to hear like what you guys think if this is a relationship that you believe that is inappropriate. But we got a little bit more. So Good Queen Fluffin' Chop says, these two are just very codependent people who are refusing to grow up and realize they now have responsibilities outside of each other that come first. For OP, it's his wife and child. For the friend, it's her and her own husband. They need therapy yesterday to actually be able to have a normal relationship. But that's the thing codependent people do. They just don't want to.
I don't agree with that.
And Short Classroom 2559, I honestly have no idea why they even married other people. This level of codependency is out there. And here just to argue, 99 says, taking bets now, he leaves wife for friend in less than a year. And Dainty Brush says they're already having an affair.
I completely disagree with those comments. Those comments have never had like a guy-girl friend. They've never seen a guy-girl friendship. They've never had one. And they don't think it's possible.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. These are childhood best friends. They're not codependent. They just care about their friendship. That's crazy. OP literally chose, I mean, he didn't do it right, but he chose his wife over his friend.
I also think this goes over a related issue where people believe that when you have a partner, a wife, or
you're
a
not
husband,
allowed to have friends.
You need to be completely devoted to that, your family unit. And yes, you do have responsibilities to your unit. I completely agree with that. But to cut off the rest of your friends, your family, to cut off your your relationships is to make yourself an island.
Yes,
and then you're worse.
It's isolating yourself.
You're isolating yourself, and then you're worse at taking care of your wife and your kid.
It's what people like when you get into a relationship, just like without kids, and you read about stories where like that a partner starts isolating you from your friends, and you're like, wow, that's such a red flag. Why is it any different when you have a wife, kids, you know, like you shouldn't be isolated from your friends.
Yeah.
Obviously there are priorities now because you have kids and you're married, but like
having one-on-one
partner
time with someone is
important.
and also going to your best friend's wedding, like
it's important.
That is important. And I would understand why that would be really hard to go through. And I don't think I think OP did a bad thing and didn't give the friend enough context about why he missed the wedding.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, I think in general, no person is an island. No person should depend on their partner for everything. You should build relationships of multiple people. You should build your tribe.
And you can, if you really want, you can integrate your partners into your friend group.
You should.
You should. I believe that.
Dude,
I personally.
If you can't hang, I don't think this is true universally, but at least for me, I need
it.
My partner to be able to hang out with my friends.
My partner needs to be friends with my friends.
Yeah, because then you have to choose between your partner and your friends.
I want to just everyone hang out all the time, and then sometimes I can hang out with individual people.
But that is where that episode ends.
Yep.
So if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you, and
see you tomorrow.